Hey everyone, Dangerous Freedom here. Today I've got my friend Aircraft Sparky, as I'm sure most of you know. I would like to say hello to everybody in the chat. Margot, I saw Miss Mary out there. C, interesting, interesting handle, and 2HD cat. And no, I am sorry I did not watch your new MRE video, but I will go back and check that out definitely. And I am sub to you, by the way. Um, So, anyways, today, Sparky, you had a pretty interesting day, didn't you?
Well, it started out pretty interesting and it ended on a nice relaxing note. But this morning in Oklahoma City, there was a protest against the Land Rush Monument. For those of you who don't know, Oklahoma was actually originally Indian territory. The whole Trail of Tears was all done, moving Indians from Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana over towards Oklahoma. That's what the Trail of Tears was. Some years later, with Western expansion, they had something called the Land Rush, and my alma mater, the college that I went to, the University of Oklahoma, they yell "Boomer Sooner." Now, the people who waited, there was a cannon that was set up, and they basically said, "Hey, here's 2 million acres of land. All you need to do to claim it is stake it." So they had like this competition, and when the cannons go off, you rush to where you want to go, you stake your claim, and that's your land. And that's what this monument was memorializing. And the people who cheated went before the cannon went off were called Sooners, and the people who waited for the cannon to go off were called Boomers. So that's why the University of Oklahoma's fight call is Boomer Sooner. So they're the University of Oklahoma cheaters. They call themselves the Sooners, which I just find to be funny. But one of the local indigenous groups called Spirit, they wanted to protest, saying that it doesn't show their history. They're not included in that. Now there's a Native American history museum right across the street, but they wanted to be included in that. And that's what they were protesting today. There was reports that Antifa were going to show up. Black Lives Matter was going to show up and possibly deface and destroy the monument, which the monument is huge. It would have taken a lot of work to do. So many patriots in the area got up and said, "We're tired of this. We're over all this crap. It is now time to stand up." Something I've been advocating for a bit now. And so you had all these groups come together this morning, and it turned out to be quite peaceful. A couple of things were said, but I mean, you had Antifa there, Black Lives Matter, many local militias. We even had the Cowboys, who are an Aryan white nationalist biker group, show up. The Proud Boys showed up. So there was people from all different walks of life, a bunch of normal people, of course.
Oh wow! Okay, I see it now. Let me see if I can pull this up on the screen here.
So yeah, it was pretty interesting. And I was doing a live stream, and YouTube started throttling my live stream about an hour into it. Yes, that's it.
Oh wow! Okay, so that thing is that's a pretty big monument.
Oh yes, sir. So
Okay.
it was a pretty decent sized protest. People from all walks of life, all different ideologies came together. There was some conversations. A few things were yelled here and there, but nothing of any real consequence. Couple of people kind of showed they wanted to get aggressive, and a lot of the patriots kind of shut that down pretty quick. So
was there a lot of militia out there too?
There was a lot of people who called themselves militia. I don't know if they were truly militia, because a lot of these people just like formed up in the past week.
Yeah.
So to call them a legitimate militia that's trained and
Yeah.
No, it's not really the case for a lot of these people. I tend to just call these people patriots who don't want to see our country
have their plate armor and their AR-15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I was a little disappointed I didn't see any Hawaiian shirts though.
No blue shirts.
If mine wasn't wrinkled, you know, if I didn't have to iron it, I would have worn mine. But I wasn't going to be wearing the plates or anything like that because, well, I was there in a more documentary capacity. I wasn't there to protest or anything like that. I was trying to get people's stories. A lot of people on the left wouldn't talk to me. And my wife, who went with me, people treated her like they treated me. They just avoided me from the left. But once she put on a mask, people would talk to her. So it's kind of interesting. It's like the mask is a political statement, and it made the leftists feel more comfortable talking to her. But she didn't film, you know, or do interviews or anything. So, I mean, there's that, right?
Well, would she have just like the regular paper mask or what?
No, there was actually people handing out masks there. And so, you know, person asked her, hey, and it had R2D2 on it. And my wife is kind of a Star Wars nerd, you know, kind of like me. And she's like, I can't turn down R2D2. So she, you know, she put it on, and she had some interesting moments. We got separated because I'm kind of flighty and just going off and doing my thing, filming. And she didn't follow. So we got separated. And she started texting me. She's like, I've got Proud Boys, Antifa, this one group called Whites Against Racist. Tell me if that isn't an oxymoron. I mean, hey, we're going to segregate ourselves from anyone else, but we're against racists. Don't worry, guys. We're fine. So had all these different groups, different ideologies, basically all around her, and she was nervous. So I saw the text and I started heading back that way. And that's about the time I started talking to the Proud Boys. And man, those guys were actually chill.
Yeah.
You know, you hear all these bad things about the Proud Boys, but YouTube was like, no, we can't have that.
And that's about when they cut your stream, right?
Yeah, they throttled my stream to the point to where the circle of death came up. And so I had to end the stream, and I lost track of them. I was going to do a separate video just on them, but they ended up disappearing. So didn't get that, but that's okay. There's going to be 3 videos coming out of that stream. I've got another video that I've started working on already with a indigenous guy, Indian guy, and he was showing me the forefather to lacrosse. So
okay. Oh yeah, you told me a little bit.
Yeah. So he was just sharing a little bit of his culture with me, and I thought it was really cool. Real nice guy. Him and his partner who came up, and so we made friends on Facebook so I can share with him the video, so he can see that I didn't misrepresent him, and it's going to be fun, man. I think you'll actually enjoy this video. I do a jackass stunt in it.
That ought to be interesting.
I mean, when my fat ass is like, "Hey, let's do a little jackass thing."
So, the rally was people were wanting it removed, and you were there to say no. It's part of our history. You can't remove it. What was the whole purpose behind that rally?
Well, the idea is the Native Americans, they wanted to be included in it, or they wanted it to be removed because they weren't included. Because to pretend like the history of Oklahoma doesn't include the native population would be wrong. I was there. I don't want to see it torn down by any means.
Yeah.
I think it's disgusting that people think that erasing historical monuments is somehow going to make things better.
No, it's just erasing history, if you ask me.
Yeah. So if I was there in any type of capacity other than documenting it, I would have been there with the Patriots talking about, hey, you may not agree with this history. That's fine, but let's not remove it just because you don't like it.
I would almost say go ahead and add some Indians in there. I mean, you know.
I have no issue with that, honestly. And what's really funny is a lot of the Patriots who I talked to actually mentioned that. Hey, why not just add?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But it's part of our history, and we don't want to lose it. I think it's legit.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. I mean, tearing down these statues and stuff. I mean, I don't get it. Defacing George Washington and, you know, the founder of our country.
Yeah, George Washington. Look, when they're tearing down abolitionists, and there was someone tore down a statue of Frederick Douglass. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Oh, man, I saw that too.
I have a lot of respect for Frederick Douglass. I mean, look, he was an escaped slave who some people claim that he talked with Lincoln. Him and Lincoln were friends. That's not true. They never actually met. They were supposed to have a speaking engagement together that never came through. But he stood up on the 4th of July and he challenged America. He said, the Constitution says all men are created equal. Nah, man, that's not what's happening. America is not living up to the promise that it gave. And he was not wrong. He forced Americans to look their own hypocrisy in the eye. So that was, that was kind of a great thing. And, well, I guess Freedom had to jump out.
No, I've got kids walking around in the background.
Fair. So yeah, that was just that was interesting that happened. It's
like they don't care who it is. Anybody, it's just like they want to tear down history. I mean, what was that? The Stone Mountain? They want to try and pour concrete over it to fill it in or some crap.
The Stone Mountain is so funny, and I did a video on the group that did their little march, which I've gotten about 4 death threats from since.
Oh wow!
And, because I laughed at them, I thought they were a joke. I still think they're a joke. Everything I see about them just shows insecure, small penis power.
Right.
The leader, Grandmaster Jay, as he likes to refer to himself.
Yeah, I heard that.
Talks about how they're highly trained, prior military, but then you see, Sergeant Porkchop walking down the street in his extremely tight tactical pants with his .22 long rifle style AR with a bolt jammed open and a round stuck in it. I mean, how highly trained are you if you can't even make sure your weapon is functional, but you're going to walk around with it?
Yeah. No, I tend to agree. I mean, like we were talking earlier when I asked about if the militia was there, and you're like, well, there are people that call themselves militia, but I mean, I consider myself part of the militia. Same with my son, but we know how to use our firearms and our equipment. We don't walk around with our bolts open or any of that crap, dude. Our bolts are shut and locked and ready to go.
Yeah. I did a video and I on it. I hope everyone goes to my channel and checks it out. You'll get a laugh. I point some things out here and there that you may miss, only because there's just so much ridiculousness going on in the thing. So they want to destroy a carving of Jeff Davis, Stonewall Jackson, and General Grant. No, Lee.
Uh-huh.
They want to destroy a carving And whatever, man. Look, if that's what you want to do, it's okay. If you want to do that, want all you want. Shit, in the other hand, see which one fills up quicker. But hey, it's not up to you. It is up to the people of that community to determine if they want that monument destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I don't care. It's some people are highly against the removal of Confederate monuments.
I am. I mean, not saying that because I necessarily agree with their fight or anything like that, but just the fact that they're, that was a great war. There were great people on both sides.
Well, and there was no other war in the history of America has more people lost life. So I think it is something that we should preserve. And I'm Southern. I'm legit Southern. I'm from Mississippi.
I'm from down south, Arizona, but that was before we were even a territory. But my family fought for the North back then. Yeah. Yeah,
and Bastard 7.62 says a lot of those statues are not that old. The carvings in Stone Mountain weren't finished until I think the 50s or the 60s.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, they're not that old. So look, I grew up in Mississippi. I grew up somewhat proud of the Confederacy about how they stood up.
I like the rebels too, yeah.
However, one thing that I'm not proud about is they made the war about slavery when that's not what the war was about. And it wasn't, they said, oh, we're seceding because of slavery. No. They said we're seceding because you're violating our states' rights by charging tariffs on our products. Taxation without representation. But then the First Amendment in every one of these states' constitutions immediately talks about slavery. And that's what made it about slavery. And then when General Lee made the fatal flaw to invade the North, that is when you see the address at Gettysburg, the issue of the Emancipation Proclamation, which never freed a single slave. But that's what turned it into a slave thing. When they invaded the North, and the fact that in the First Amendment for every constitution for Southern states was talking about the right to keep and own slaves, it really makes them look like assholes. And well, they were assholes for owning slaves. But I'm not going to tell them, where I don't agree with slavery or anything like that. And only 3% of people in the Confederacy actually own slaves, including some African Americans. That is what it's known as. It's known as the war to free slaves instead of the war to ensure states' rights are upheld. And so that's why all this, we need to get rid of the Confederate monuments is a thing. So the Confederates, they made a mistake. They done messed up. But I'm putting my morals today and judging people in the past with a different moral compass.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, because even back then, Thomas Jefferson had slaves. Hell, I believe even George Washington had some slaves.
George Washington had slaves and wanted to get rid of his slaves, but couldn't because Virginia law would not allow it.
Wow. That's something you don't hear every day.
Yes, it was what it was. He couldn't have his slaves freed until he died. So when he died, he had it written in his will that he would allow for Martha, his wife, to free the slaves, and so she did. Because many of our forefathers were abolitionists. Even Thomas Jefferson, who had many slaves and many affairs with his slaves, or I would say affairs. Some would say rape. I don't know. I wasn't there.
No.
So there's no proof that it was rape, but the fact that they were his slaves, we can imply it was because of the whole power differential, right? But he was actually against slavery as a slave owner. So you see this kind of odd thing happening in American history, and it's really something quite unique to American history.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about slaves, modern day, look at all these people on welfare. They're slaves to the government.
Well, see, they don't see it like that. They don't understand that they're ceding a bit of their individualism, their own free will for a pity check. That's really all welfare is. We pity you because you don't have the money to do whatever, so we're going to give you some.
Yeah, well, just because you're lazy doesn't mean you should get a free check.
Well, I wouldn't even say that everyone is lazy, because there are people that hit legitimate hard times.
Yeah.
And that helps them. I call it lazy. If you've been on welfare for, let's say, 5 years and you haven't done anything to try to get away from that system.
Oh my God.
That's your fault. It's somewhat the government's fault, because I think we need to have limits on welfare. That's something that I would advocate for. I would advocate for, hey, you got 5 years worth of welfare for life.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting, but that's a good point. I want to address Invader Zim. All those statues that got dismantled, destroyed, or vandalized. Yes, I believe eventually they will be replaced, and they will probably be bigger and better. But that's going to be years down the road.
Well, I'll tell you this: Donald Trump threw the biggest middle finger to these people the other day when he announced that he was going to create a garden of heroes. So,
okay. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, basically what he is saying is, you could go whatever. You tear down these monuments, I'm going to put up more. I'm going to make them bigger. And I'm going to put them on federal land where if you do so, we're going to mess you up.
Yeah, have the National Guard protecting them, yeah.
But he's not going to, he didn't mention any Confederates to go into the Garden of Heroes, but he did talk about people like Clarence Thomas. He talked about, what was his name? The Supreme Court that died, Anthony Scalia. He talked about Harriet Tubman. All these people. He was talking about adding, just hey, a celebration of American history. Because one thing that is beautiful about this country is America has constantly been in reform. If you think about it, we started off with slavery under a king.
Yep. In fact, our forefathers were all traitors, according to the crown.
Exactly. We fought, we gained our freedom. And then down the road, we realized not everyone was free in the land of the free. The 13th Amendment was created, freeing the slaves. And, we also had reform like for voting rights. It used to be, in order to vote, you had to be white, you had to own land, and you had to be part of the militia in order to vote. And I think, is the 19th Amendment that gave, the repeal of the 19th, 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote. So we have constantly reformed this country to make it a better country. This is a country of reform.
Yeah, maybe we should take back some of those reforms. Just saying.
Well, I mean, a lot of the MRA community would say, "Oh, repeal the 19th. Women are the problem with voting." No. I say, no, not at all.
I don't see it that way either.
However, what I would say is I do believe that we need to add females to the draft, because I don't agree with forcing everyone to be a landowner. Because what about those people who rent, who can't afford to?
Well, I mean, think about it this way, Sparky. Even the richest people have to pay taxes on their land. So literally, we don't own anything. We don't even own our property necessarily. If you don't pay your taxes, what happens? The government comes in with guns and Waco's your ass.
Well, taxation is theft. I mean,
Period.
let's just get through. Let's get past that one. Let's pull the curtain back. But it is a theft that we agreed to because of the services provided, the maintenance of the infrastructure, the police force that is constantly being defunded now, fire departments, things like that. That's what that money is supposed to go towards. But we need to have a reform. Again, we need to have a reform in our government. And part of that reform that I would suggest is term limits.
I was gonna say, yeah, term limits would be probably number one. No more of these congressmen and senators serving out 10 terms. Although there's a case to be made on the other side, because some of these congressmen, like the true patriotic conservative ones. I mean, honestly, if they keep doing their job the way their constituents want them to do, I have no problem with it. But then you got these Democratic ones like Nancy Pelosi, who's been in there for what, 10 terms, 20 terms now? I don't even freaking know.
Well, okay. Let me break this down to you, Freedom, and run this by you and see what you think about this.
Okay.
Joe Biden has spent 40 years in government service as a politician.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, he has actually done nothing. Literally done nothing. He's co-sponsored some bills. He's never actually written a bill himself. He was vice president. He's always kind of ridden the coattails. You talk about how we've had some real patriots serve as representatives and senators. The founding president of America, George Washington, was asked to be a king. And he said no. And then he was voted in by the Congress that they had at that moment, the Continental Congress. He was voted in as president. And when it came time after 8 years, because they determined that he would serve a term of 4 years, he said, I am not serving. And this was the tradition in America until Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was elected into office 3 separate times, died midway through his third. And immediately after his death, what did Congress do? Amended the Constitution to say a president can only serve 2 terms. Now, there has been many very patriotic people who have served their term in Congress and then left after one or two stints. And I'm thinking of what was his name from South Carolina? He's a contributor to Fox News now.
Trey Gowdy? No.
Trey Gowdy, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Trey Gowdy did the right thing. As much as I would like to have seen him stay in, he did the right thing. Being a politician should not be a full-time job, should not be a lifetime job. Trey Gowdy said, I'm done.
Yeah.
Went back to private life.
Jason Chaffetz, too. They both did. They did their terms and they got the hell out.
You've got to respect that.
Even though a lot of people wanted him to stay in there. But you know what? It makes me wonder, because after Trump, after 2024, maybe one of them will run for president. And I mean, they've already got a hell of a background. So
maybe. I don't know. I think we need to go back to a time when our politicians were citizens first and politicians down the road. Okay. And that's something we don't see now. Well, you could look at most of, and like, okay, Ron Paul. How long did Ron Paul serve in the Senate?
I don't know.
A lot of people love Ron Paul. Let me look that up real quick.
Yeah, I like him too, man. In fact, I think see. I was old enough to vote for him, but I don't think he even made it on the ballot.
Okay, Ron Paul, he served from 1975 to 1985. And then again, he served in 97 to 2013. Oh, wow. So, yeah, that was House of Representatives from Texas. Yeah, he was a House representative from Texas. So he spent 14 plus 6, that's 20 years. 21 years he spent in Congress. Now, you would say that Ron Paul is a principled individual, right?
I think he's more of a constitutionalist.
Well, he is quite a constitutionalist. But see, I hate Ron Paul. I hate Ron Paul for one reason and one reason only. Because he actually voted against giving soldiers body armor during the Iraq War.
What?
Yes, because he disagreed with the war. He said it was unconstitutional. And, I don't think he's wrong. But regardless, soldiers were sent downrange. He refused funding to armor our soldiers to protect them from the enemy. Soldiers don't pick their fights. No. Soldiers go where they're told to go. And Ron Paul voted against protecting our troops while they were downrange in harm's way. And so that's why I don't like Ron Paul.
Yeah, that's a pretty good reason.
So he is very constitutional, and I love that for him. He is a man of principle. But sometimes he allowed his principles to get in the way of what is good, right and good for the people. And so where, there's certain hills people will die on. If you choose the wrong one to die on, well, you're going to get laughed at. And that's why I laugh at Ron Paul. His son Rand. How many, but 20, we're talking about 20 plus years in service in Congress. Rand Paul assumed office in 2011. He's doing the same thing. And a lot of people love Rand. I like Rand. I like his viewpoints. But the fact that he has been in office since 2011, I kind of have a problem with. Why do we have politicians with double-digit political careers in the same office? They should return back to private life. That way we get more, we get a little bit more diversity. Oh, that's a word that the left loves. Diversity of opinions. I think Rand Paul would be doing himself a favor, showing his principles by limiting himself. And I think that we need to have term limits on every office. So
yeah,
for the House of Representatives, every term is 2 years. Why don't we give them 4 years of term limits?
And then say you do your 2 terms in Congress, and then you run for Senate. The Senate the Senate is almost more important than the Congress. They have the ability to say yay or nay, but so does the Congress, and then so does the president. Actually, part of the stream that part of the topic I wanted to talk on tonight was the judicial branch, because they are the only ones that are literally getting away with fucking murder.
Well, they kind of are. And Jet 001 says, what about Ted Cruz? Well, Ted Cruz has been in office since 2013. And Ted Cruz is running for re-election this year, if I'm right. I could be wrong. No, I think senators should probably do 2 terms. I think House members should do 4 max.
Yeah.
Because I think we need to rotate our politicians. And, a lot of people have criticized Gen X for not doing anything. They're not wrong. force Gen X to take responsibility for their government and run. I'd run, but I'd be a terrible candidate.
Yeah. Don't worry, Scott. I'm gonna touch on that here in a minute.
Fuzzy, or Fuzz, no. Ron Paul would not have gotten rid of the UN, because if Ron Paul was going to get rid of the UN, he would have done it. Okay? He puffs his chest out and claims that he's this and that, and then he votes against giving soldiers body armor.
Jeez, Fuzz. Yeah, it is, but that's only if you don't train with it. I mean, you could train with it like I do. I mean, I walk around outside. Of course, I throw a t-shirt over because I don't want to freak out all my neighbors walking down the street with fucking body armor on. I'm some kind of a freak. The ones that know me won't, but there's plenty of people around here that don't know me that well and be like, why is that guy walking? They'd be calling the cops and like, why are you walking down the street with your body armor and a sidearm?
and a lot of people, okay, like Jet's like, oh, okay, and laughing.
I know, Greg.
When I was in the Army, we trained in our body armor and stuff. If you were going to tell men and women of this great country to go fight in a fucking war that honestly had nothing, no defensive reason at all.
Yep.
Okay, when you sent us off to Iraq, and then you have someone in Congress going, well, yes, I voted against this war and I lost, I didn't convince enough people to deny this war. And so I'm going to pitch a hissy fit and refuse to fund the people we send into harm's way. I can't respect that. And I will always hold a grudge because we lost a lot of soldiers, a lot of Marines, to something as trivial as they weren't properly equipped. If you're going to send someone in harm's way, you give them the best damn equipment you can possibly get them to ensure that they get to come back. And that also, in the long run, saves money for America, because now you're not paying for disability. You're not paying death benefits. All these other things that come in down the road doesn't exist. And you are showing that you actually care about your soldier. And I'm going to get off my high horse about Ron Paul. I know people want to agree with me. Some people want to agree with me, and that's fine.
Well, that's the whole point of my channel is different viewpoints. You know what I mean? I mean, if we were just an echo chamber, we wouldn't be getting anywhere.
And I'm not cherry picking. I'm literally reading what you write and responding to it. So, body armor in urban areas. You're exactly correct. There's nothing you need body armor in urban areas. Hey, you need body armor in any area where you're being shot at.
Yeah, no doubt.
It increases the likelihood. And no, I don't want everyone to ride around in tank, but I do want one to go to work in. Because I'm tired of traffic jams. M1A2 gets me around that.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, I keep telling some of my neighbors close by me, it's like, hey, if you ever see me sandbagging my house, shit's going down.
Yeah, that's just, I have been to war. I understand the dangers associated with it. And I gladly accepted those dangers when I raised my right hand and gave that blank check to my country. But all at the same time, if you expect me to go down range and get shot at for your dumpy ass or some corporation's stupid ass, you best give me the best damn equipment to ensure that I can come home safe. That way I can make it back home to my family. Because I don't mind sacrificing my life for a just cause. But let's be honest. Besides Afghanistan, what was the last just cause that America has actually engaged in combat with since World War II?
I can't think of one, honestly.
I mean,
Vietnam
was corporate. It was a corporate war.
Staged over. I mean, they false flagged the shit out of that.
And Korea wasn't much different.
I hope that
And
didn't get me struck because I said the F word.
we wrap our people in the flag and we say we're doing it to fight communism. And hey, communism is horrible.
Yeah, just don't bring it to our shores.
Here's the deal. The military is supposed to be a defensive force. It is there for defense of the country. It is not there to defend ExxonMobil. It is not there to defend the CIA's drug operation.
Hell yeah.
It is there to defend America, America's land, America's interest. The problem is we have wrapped our interest around way too much in what the corporate wants. We don't have a country based on an idea. We are an incorporated country. Think about that. Our country is incorporated. That yellow frill around the flag, some would say, oh, well, that designates military. No, that designates incorporation. So I want my military to defend America. I want my country to defend Americans. Afghanistan was a righteous fight up until the point we killed Osama bin Laden. And everything after that, it was no longer a righteous fight. Once we exacted revenge, we should have left it. Fuck them. Who cares? Pardon my French. But
yeah. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I mean, granted, though, I do agree that we should leave pockets of like special ops out there. But, you know, those guys are highly trained and also highly paid. And
they're not highly paid. They are not.
Well, I mean, well, what is it? The black, well, they changed their name now. What the hell? What did they call it? The
Blackwater?
Yeah, Blackwater.
Those are contractors. Those are not military.
Exactly. You know, but they're paid.
That's a private corporation. They're paid for that. U.S. military, if you're a Green Beret, you'll get jump pay, you'll get dive pay, you'll get hazard duty pay. Yeah, you might get linguist pay if you're linguist qualified. But all that put together, that's like $600.
Man.
Oh man. Woo! $600 a month. Let me tell you.
I'll risk my life for that.
Well, I mean, look, when I was in the service, if you took out all my allowances at the pinnacle of my rank.
I like what Fuzz T just put in there.
What did he say? No more. Yeah, I fully agree with you. But at the pinnacle of my career, at the highest paid time, and I was an E6. I was staff sergeant in the Army. $28,000.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's without the housing allowance. That's without the other allowances I was given. So if you added in all my benefits, I was paid about $55,000 a year, $60,000 a year. But I've been in for quite a while at that time. And when you have a brand new private, a brand new airman, seaman, or a Marine private, you know, you're talking about kids that are signing up literally for like $18,000 a year. Okay, that's nothing. In the grand scheme of things, if you're going to put your life on the line, we're paying them nothing. Why are we sending them overseas to fight wars for corporations? They should be there to defend America, to defend Americans, not their companies.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and what's that, Jet?
Actually, I have never been on a peacekeeping mission, although I have been under UN mission overall, like when I was in Kosovo. But I worked directly for a U.S. military general who was head over the entire operations in Kosovo. Yes, it was a NATO operation. It wasn't UN.
Hi, Pinky. Good to see you, hon.
Hey, what's up, Pinky? How you doing? So but a soldier doesn't pick who he works for. So, yeah, I did some stuff with NATO. I did stuff with the IDF. I've done stuff with the UN. Guess what?
Was that on our shores or was that overseas?
Some of it, yes. With NATO was on our shores for right after 9/11. The unit I was in, we ran constant surveillance of our airspace. And, well, we just didn't have the air crews to do it. So NATO actually came over and helped us out. So we did joint operations with them. With the UN, I did a couple of UN missions in Africa. But yet again, working under U.S. military the entire time. I've worked with NATO in Kosovo. I've worked with the IDF in Israel. It's soldier don't pick the fights.
Yep.
Soldier just does the fight.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, I mean, some people probably go in there thinking, we'll never go to war, just go in there and get their training and get their paycheck and then get out. But, if war breaks out, then it's all out the window.
When I joined, I didn't join to go to war. I joined to go to college, to pay for college. A mission accomplished, by the way. But along the way, I did go to several wars. Yes, Pinky, my live stream did get yeeted. But that's okay because I'm going to break it up and release it in smaller bits so people will be more willing to go watch it. Go watch instances from today.
Can you hold the chat for a minute? I got to go deal with the kiddos.
Right on. So I know there may be some people in the chat that may go, wow, what Sparky's saying, I do not like. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with us disagreeing because my opinion has evolved over the years. This isn't something I just woke up. I wasn't this way the entire time. In fact, when I was in the military, I was yes, sir, 3 bags full. It did not matter what mission they wanted to send. I was all about it. But now that I'm out and the more I look into everything, because I didn't have time to look into this stuff when I was in, I was too busy doing my job. But now that I'm out and I'm talking to other veterans and I look at some of the individuals, I'm 80% disabled because of my service. I'm not mad about that. I'm compensated for it, and I have benefits because of that. But I look at people who are much worse off than me that didn't have to be. And that makes me angry because these people didn't sign up for that. I try karma. I really do. But I don't want to lie to anyone. I don't want to blow smoke up your ass. I want you to know, hey, you can disagree with me, and that's cool. In fact, if everyone agreed with me, this would be a boring conversation, right? Because we'd all be going, yeah, you're absolutely right. And no. We don't need that because I may have a point of view that you don't agree with, and you may know something that I don't, and you could share that with me, and then I can grow as a person. And that is something I think is highly important. That's why I went to this protest today, because I don't agree with everything that the indigenous people were talking about. But I could understand where they were coming from. And I'm like, that may not be a bad idea. Let's see. My dad was SF and he's completely changed his mind on fighting. Yeah, exactly. They sent low IQ people into combat in Nam. They sent everybody into combat in Nam. Nearly all things are being turned inverted. I don't know. I don't know about that. What do you mean by that? What do you mean turned inverted? Because maybe I'm thinking something different, so I can't really agree with you there yet. But if you expand on that thought for me a little bit, maybe I can understand where you're coming from. No, we did not go to Afghanistan for oil because Afghanistan does not have oil. But what they do have, what they truly do have, is they do have some rare earth minerals, and they have amazing amounts of land to grow opiates. But the reason why we went into Afghanistan was to exact revenge for the attack on U.S. soil. That's why I say it was a righteous fight up until the point we killed Osama bin Laden. My dad wasn't low IQ. He fought in Nam. My father fought in Nam too. Yeah. A lot of oil companies do pay for their own armies, and they usually do that through contractors. And I see nothing wrong with using contractors. In fact, I think America should actually start looking, if you want to do these operations overseas, instead of wasting American blood, why not pay contractors? Because contractors are ultimately cheaper because you don't have to give them benefits. You just pay the contract, and the company has to do all that other stuff. So where the cost of using military tends to get exponentially more expensive is the benefits following whatever action that is used. Welcome back.
Yeah, my son is getting ready to take a trip up north and way up north. And so I made sure he's got some of the preps, like fire starting equipment and stuff like that, just in case.
Okay. Invader Zim says, the part where you said it makes you grow, what is the term for that? Constructive argument debates? You're onto something. Well, okay, it's like this.
I missed that part.
We all grow. Well, I mentioned that if everyone agreed with what I was saying in chat, it would be a very dull conversation. We could not grow from it. I like dissent. I like constructive dissent. We don't have to agree on everything because the whole purpose, when I started out YouTube, I used to say this all the time, and I'm starting to come back to it. We don't have to agree on everything. We can celebrate our commonalities and discuss our disagreements and work together to make a better world together.
Well, that's how the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists did it way back in the 1700s. I mean, they agreed on people deserve to be free, which, I mean, that is our common ground. We deserve to be free. Nobody has the right to rule over another.
Exactly. And a lot of times, if you talk to people, be them left, right, purple, whatever, I don't care. 9 times out of 10 in the West, a lot of people have the same idea of an end goal. Where the true rub is the direction on how to get there. Because if you talk to someone and like freedom, I go, yeah, you just told me that you want to be free. You think no man should lord over you as a lord, blah, blah, blah. And I would say, you're absolutely right. I fully agree with you. But what does that look like? And then you would explain what you think would be absolute freedom. And I may have a different idea of what that is. So we talk about that until we come to
hey, Detroit, good to see
agreement.
you.
What's up, Detroit, my brother? So then we come to a compromise on what we would both agree would be freedom. And then we'd have to talk about how do we get there? What steps do we need to take? And that's usually where the difference between the right and left usually is. Now, right now,
like for me, I mean, if we did go down that road, I would be like, okay, I believe that every man has the right to be free. Now, if you intrude on somebody else's person or property and, and damage their property, then you are going to be held accountable. So we're going to need police or some branch, to manage that. And that's why I don't necessarily agree with this whole defunding the police crap. I mean, do they need reform? Yes. But as far as like just defunding the cops and all that, no. But I mean, traffic stops. I mean, unless you are like literally threatening somebody's life, I think it's stupid to get pulled over for like a tail light out. You know what I mean?
That's actually more of a revenue stream, is what
Yeah,
that's designed
exactly.
for.
Yeah, but that's what they turned it into, and that's what we got to be careful with, because they've legislated that in.
What's interesting about the whole idea behind the defund the police, I think we can all agree that there does need to be some reform of the police. Now, how does that happen? The left are saying we want to punish police departments by removing funding, removing training from them. But I would argue the reason why the police force needs reform is because a soldier, before they go on a mission, they practice all their drills, and they make sure they hone their skills. The police don't do that. The police go through the academy, and then they may have some training that they have to do every year, but it's really not that intense. So when you take away money from them, you're actually taking away training. You're making them less trained, less prepared, which will give them more of an opportunity to make deadly consequences. And let's be honest, a police officer in their first year without a degree makes $24,000 a year on average in America. What quality of people do you really think that you're going to attract with a low wage like that? Now, I'm not saying they need to be rich, and public service is generally underpaid. But wouldn't you attract, or you could be a little bit more selective with your candidates if you offered a higher salary? More people would apply, so you could be more choosy about who you pick to take that role as an officer.
Well, I mean, if the Democrats have their way, it's going to be all black chicks at about 120 pounds, you know?
Well, I mean, right now, what is going on is not Democrats. I would honestly say what is happening right now is not the Democrats. These are people who are hijacking the Democratic Party. I would actually suggest that Black Lives Matter starts their own party, because they do not hold the same values as the Democrats. If you look at the Democrat platform and you look at the Black Lives Matter platform, they're opposed to each other. But because the Democrats believe that so much of their power resides in the black community, because LBJ decided that he was going to get the Negroes' vote for the next 200 years.
Mm-hmm.
And those aren't his exact words. That's a paraphrase.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's pretty close.
That the Democrats think that they have to pander to African Americans. Black Lives Matter literally panders to Black America, and they are pushing their way. They're forcing their way into the Democrat Party, and they have completely different values. They're actually more socialist than they are anything. Go to their website, look up what they stand for. You'll see what I'm saying.
Are you talking about BLM right now, or
yes? I think they should be their own political party. That way, they could actually get a true barometer about who supports their cause and who doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, the Republicans are not even Republicans anymore. The Republicans are Democrats these days. The Republicans have moved so far to the left that they are literally becoming the 1990s Democrat Party.
Sorry, I'm totally distracted here. My kid, I got one that's going up north, and the other one that's just, I told him I'm doing a live stream, and he's like, I'm going to go out with my friends, but then he comes back in.
And see, Gray, you say they're just plain weak. No, they're not weak. They're spineless. Because honestly, they don't have anything to stand for.
Lip dicks.
That's the way I look at it. The Republicans don't really stand for anything anymore.
Yeah.
The Republicans we have our core beliefs, but hey, we're kind of, oh, hold on.
I mean, I would almost go so far as to say we need the Patriot Party. But then again, every time a party gets into power, after so long, that power goes to their head. It does it every damn time. What we need to do is figure out a way to where no one party can stay in power for more than, say, 15 or 20 years tops, or maybe less, depending.
Yeah, I think we need to institute term limits, because then that would actually force politicians to stay true to their values, and instead of putting things off and putting things off and putting things off like they always do,
repeal the NFA.
It would make them. It would force them to actually do something. If they say, if they're being honest, they want to affect this change. Get off the pot, shit, or get off the pot. You only have this much time to do it.
Here, I'm going to screen share something, because, like I said, I did have a topic here too. Let's see. Okay.
The NFA. What is the NFA? I'm not.
The National Firearms Act.
Okay.
Okay, so I put in there, is the NFA constitutional? And it said straight out, nevertheless, the NFA did result in several lawsuits claiming the law was unconstitutional, one of which reached the Supreme Court. A federal district court quashed the indictment, ruling that the NFA did indeed violate the Second Amendment, but the Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, disagreed. And that brings me to the next topic that I wanted to bring.
Bring it.
Okay, I'm bringing it. Which is when Thomas Jefferson, actually came out and warned us about this. Okay, and this is in 1820. He warned, "You seem to consider the judges as the ultimate arbiters of all constitutional questions. A very dangerous doctrine indeed, and one which would place us under the despotism of an oligarchy," which is where we're at.
And okay, so we'll address this real quick. The idea behind like the lifetime appointments was to try to avoid political nonsense, political appointment. And well, it turned into a political thing. Look at our Supreme Court right now. We have 4 liberal justices and 5 conservative justices. And how do we determine if they're liberal or conservative? We use that based on who appointed them. Basically. Now, Chief Justice Roberts, I would not consider him a liberal judge, a conservative judge at all. He's actually liberal, not like leftist, liberal. He does not uphold conservative values. He is a constitutionalist, but the way he views it is through a liberal lens.
Well, you heard recently we had 10 Second Amendment court cases, Supreme Court cases, and they pushed them off, and just said, "No, we're not even going to touch those." I mean, come on. What can be misconstrued in the terms "shall not be infringed"? They have been infringing on our rights, and it goes back to the NFA. And I know I'm kind of preaching on this because I believe that everybody does deserve the right to own their own firearm and be well trained with them to protect their life and to protect their family. Now, granted, there are bad people out there, but I mean, it's gotten to the point where if you get in a fight with your girlfriend when you're 18, you can't buy a gun for the rest of your life because the cops came out on a domestic disturbance call.
Oh my goodness! See, now you're talking my world, because I'm a libertarian. I'm a conservative libertarian, but I'm a libertarian nonetheless. Why is it that when you send a man or a woman off to prison and they serve their term, they do it fine, they get out, they go on parole. After parole, why are we still limiting the rights of those individuals who have paid their debt to society?
Yep.
You want to talk about prison reform? Let's talk about post-prison reform.
No doubt, right?
I mean,
And they make them jump through so many hoops. And just getting out of prison, who's got the money to go pay for a lawyer to try and fight for your rights back?
Honestly, I see the need for a competent defense, but all at the same time, where a person can't afford to pay for a lawyer themselves, why should we expect the taxpayer to pay for someone else's competent lawyer as well? I believe that they need representation. Do not get me wrong.
Yeah.
However, you get what you pay for. And if you're not paying anything, should you really get something that great? Yes, you should get competent
maybe
representation.
maybe you should be spending those years in prison learning your own laws so you can represent yourself.
There's actually been a lot of prisoners who have spent time actually past the bar. And there's been like 2 or 3 cases where people have actually gotten themselves out from underneath their
charges.
Yeah, their charges, because they actually put in the work. And, people like that, I got to go, bravo, sir, bravo. But why is it that you find someone, let's just say you come home one day early from work and you find someone, scrogging your wife, and in a fit of passion, you shoot him and her, and you end up pleading down to 15 years, because this does happen. 15 years later, you have thrown away a big portion of your life out of a fit of a time where you lost your mind, slightly, and in a fit of rage took someone else's life. I think we can all agree maybe it was the wrong course to go, but we can kind of sympathize with that, right? Because the amount of betrayal felt there.
Yeah, because it was in the heat of the moment, whereas
Yes.
premeditated murder would be a totally different thing. There are people that are getting out of prison that should not be let out of prison. You know what I mean? Or not, maybe not even put in prison. Maybe we need to bring back the death penalty a lot stronger.
But after that individual serves their term, they have repaid their debt to society. That's what they call it. Why is it once they are done with parole? Now, I would say once you get out of prison, you have to have an adjustment period. That's what the parole system is for.
Yeah.
Once you have shown that you are adjusted back into the community and everything else, you should be reafforded your rights to vote. You should be afforded your right to your guns and stuff. Hey, what's up? What's up, Matt? Just checking in. Can't stay. I'm hanging with the Queen doing a bonfire. Right on. Always have to throw down for a scenario. Right on, man. Right on.
That's interesting, Brass. After 10 years, they give them back their rights. Still, 10 years, I mean.
No, a person, once you have paid your debts, once that check is cleared, I think you should get all your rights back. Because what if you went to jail for a year because you got in a fight?
Mm-hmm.
You got in a fight. You got drunk one night at a bar. You got in a fight. You were charged with assault and battery and sentenced to 1 year in the county jail. You cannot buy a gun for the rest of your life now.
Yeah.
In most states, you will not be able to vote. Now, I don't agree that a prisoner should be allowed to vote. As a prisoner, you are not a citizen, in my opinion. You are property of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know that sounds kind of messed up.
Well, I feel the same way about welfare. People collecting welfare.
But
I don't think all of them should be allowed to vote.
But people would go, oh, well, that person was convicted of a violent crime.
Amen.
And so they shouldn't be allowed to get their guns. Well, you pay your dues. Once your dues are paid, shouldn't you get everything back to normal? Why do we force people who have done all their time?
We'll pick that up, Pinky. You see, Pinky. You see, what Pinky said in the chat.
What about repeat offenders? We'll talk about that. I'll definitely talk about that. And this will be my opinion, of course. I only represent myself. I don't represent anyone else, organization, or yada yada yada. But when it comes to when it comes to your debt being paid, your credit should be good again.
Yeah.
Now, with repeat offenders, this is why I support a parole system, because the majority of people who are repeat offenders, the vast majority,
are still on probation when
still
they
on probation. They're still on a parole type situation. So they haven't adjusted. I'm saying you should not get your rights back until the whole debt is cleared.
Yeah.
So let's say you did your year in jail for your fight. You were put on parole for 8 months following. 7 months and 28 days later, you get another fight. Time restarts. You do not pass go. You do not collect $100.
Yeah, and you go back in the cage.
You go back, you do your time, you come out, let's say 3 months later, because you really didn't do anything all that bad. You just did something like, I don't know, you got drunk, which, by the way, is always a parole violation. So you do 3 months and you're given 4 more months of parole. Once all that time is paid off, you should be free and clear with all your rights back. Because honestly, the majority of people who are habitual offenders, they usually get caught on probation violations, not actual legit armed robbery. Now, there are some, but the vast majority are just simple parole violations that get them reoffender status. And that's kind of sad, because if you look at what most parole conditions are, you can't drink, you can only work certain jobs, because we require people to identify themselves as felons and stuff like that. I think once all your time is done, you shouldn't even have to say, yes, I was a felon.
Exactly. And you shouldn't have to go back to the courts to get your rights reinstated. They should just be given back to you at that point.
I mean, but right now we have to get back on topic. We do have oligarchs in like the Supreme Court. Like right now, what is on the line this election year? If you vote for Joe Biden, there is going to be at least 2 Supreme Court nominations that are going to happen in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
RBG is a rotting meat puppet.
I don't even know if she's alive.
Well, she's supposedly written some stuff.
Yeah, somebody did.
And hey, that's cool. That's cool, Scott Marcia. You don't have to agree with me. If you could tell me what you disagree with.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right, Pinky. I'm just gonna be honest from my heart. Sex offenders, if they are caught diddling kids, I agree. Not too many of them are ever reformed, and I would be okay with the death penalty.
And see, now that
nobody's got room for those fucking assholes.
That is something I would say. Look, there are some things where death should be the solution.
Well, it gets them out of our hair. Then let the devil deal with them.
There are some things that death is the solution for, and I think kitty diddling should be one of those things.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely do. It destroys so many lives. It's not.
However, I have to throw this in there. I believe there should be an appeal process, which does exist today. I think there should be limits on that.
I'm not sure,
because some people do get wrongfully convicted. Look, with the court of public opinion being what it is, and how information travels, someone could be accused of being a kitty diddler.
Castrate them. That's a good one too.
Well, no, because when you are a rapist or something, it's not necessarily about the sex. It can be about power and stuff like that. So do you really need an erect penis to do that? No, because a broomstick works just as well. I mean, the depraved mind has no limits. Where there is a will, there is a way. Understand that. So castration, no.
Execution.
But if you are sentenced to death, I still believe that you should be afforded the right to appeal, because there are people who have been killed while convicted by a jury.
Yeah, that were innocent.
that were completely innocent. And
once DNA came out, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, even they come out after the fact. This guy was executed, legally 10 years ago, and then the DNA is catching up, and it's like, oh crap, it was this guy, not this guy. We just killed this guy, I understand that, but it is so minute. It's like if a few innocent people die, yeah, it sucks. But I mean, innocent people die every day.
Innocent people do die, but if we can prevent our government from killing innocent people, I think that would be the right thing, the right route.
So like maybe get the family, like say somebody raped your daughter, and then let the judge come up and say, okay, what should his he's been found guilty. What's his penalty? Yeah, I would almost be okay with that. And it's like, okay, well, let him spend the rest of his life in prison, or let the family go out there and execute him. I would be okay with that too.
Okay, now riddle me this. I've been kicking around this idea for about 3 weeks now, just trying to figure out how to craft this message, and I'm gonna break it out here for you. Do you know why we hate social justice?
Because it's a mob.
It's a mob, and it's mob justice. We are actually holding different groups to different standards. It's kind of offensive to people who think that actually believe in true equality, that people are people. I was telling some of these black supremacists that's been in my comment section because I made fun of the NFAC, the Not Effing Around Coalition.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But they're like, my people. And I said, and I tell them, you're American. You're my people too. And they're like, but we have different skin. I said, it's not about the skin. Our common thing, our common root is the fact that we're American. If you're American, you're my people. And all Americans should be treated the exact same. That is my opinion, not the opinion of Dangerous Freedom, YouTube, or anyone else. But when we look at social justice, what we see is this egregious violation of equality in search of equity. Do you know what social justice looks like? And we actually find actual examples of it throughout American history.
Always the volcano option. Just burn them all. I'm down with that. Just send them all to Hawaii.
Do you know what group justice looks like in America?
I've seen it on news and on media all over the place. Yeah,
it is a man hanging from a tree because a mob just lynched him. That is what social justice is. Instead of it being a black man, though, it is now a white man. But that is what social justice is. Social justice is group justice. And every time group justice has happened in America, we look back on it and we go, that's morally wrong because that person was treated based on the group he was in or she was in.
Yeah. Well, it's like, what's that old saying? The person is smart, but the people are stupid.
People are fucking stupid. Yeah. Individuals can be quite intelligent, but once you get people into a big group,
yep.
I mean, you get some big brain, low IQ ideas coming out of the mob.
Yeah, like Chaz.
Yeah. So it's something I've been kicking around. What do you think about that, Freedom? Do you think I'm onto something maybe? Because I've considered doing a video about this.
You're talking about mob mentality?
Well, about how social justice is basically modern day lynching, about how certain groups are held to different standards, and therefore
Hey, Lone Star, good to see you, brother. Yeah, well, it kind of goes back to like the protest you were at today. I mean, there were a lot of people that stood together to protect the monument, and then there were other people saying, no, this needs to be there or the whole thing needs to go. I mean, so granted, there was no violence.
Yeah, which
dodged a bullet on that one.
Well, I honestly, the reason why I say there was no violence, the reason why I think there was no violence was because we're starting to see the everyday American the average American show up. Now they called themselves militia,
The
but
individual, yeah.
but when you start seeing the community get together and say, we're not going to stand for this anymore, the mob gets quelled very quickly. Because you had people, and some of it was very obvious, has never carried a weapon in their freaking life, walking around. Made me quite nervous. Like when I saw a guy, I looked at his holster, he had a 911 with the hammer cocked back and the safety off, which is not that big of a deal. But when I talked to him, he had a 3-pound trigger on it. And I'm like, when you go to pull that, where do you put your finger? And he's like, well, on the trigger. And I'm like, so you like shooting yourself in the foot? And he's like, well, I haven't carried. I'm like, decock your gun. That way you at least have to pull the trigger properly before you let it go. Because you don't have to pull back the hammer.
That's going to get me flagged on YouTube, isn't it?
Possibly.
I did say 18 and above in the description. So, but yeah, that's my safety. That's my only safety right there.
This is my safety, but I don't put it on the trigger until I'm ready to fire.
Exactly. Yeah.
But this individual didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
He had not only one in the round, but the hammer back. And this wasn't like a modern day 911 that has like your grip safety and your trigger safety. This is an old school 45 with no safety other than the paddle safety.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, if he pulled it and dropped it, it probably would go off.
Yeah. So
yeah,
when I explained it to him, he went, oh, thank you. And I told him, don't put your finger on the trigger unless you're ready to fire.
Exactly. And actually, the real thing is you don't even pull your gun until you're planning on firing.
Yes, sir. You're right. But that's another conversation that I would have had to have.
We could save that for another time. Maybe we could do that after hours.
Yeah.
By the way, some of you, I dropped the link earlier in the chat, but we'll go after hours for a bit. So
yeah, but this man identified himself as militia. And I was like, ooh, that's not a good look, buddy. You know?
Yeah.
And if you are militia, you should be highly trained and properly regulated. And part of the regulation is through your training.
What's up, Billy? I mean,
what's up, Outlaw?
What are y'all doing?
Just talking
shit.
Talking
about the militia and mobs and all kinds of stuff. Haven't you been listening to us?
I might have listened a little bit.
I like your little hold 'em up deal.
Well, you know, the whole COVID-19 thing, man. I mean, you know, I'm scared to come outside, man.
You worried about the commie coof?
I'm outside, man, and you know, they say we need to wear a mask always, man. Also, by the way, I got enough money today somehow or another to buy everybody a new piece of property and new cars.
Brilliant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Would you just go in there and say I'm black and I want my suffrage or my reparations?
No.
Did you call J.G. Wentworth?
As an outlaw, you have to take matters into your own hands whenever they shut you down and you can't work. So I did a little work at the bank today.
Right on. Hey,
now I'm rich.
Well, if you go to any of my my videos, down in the description below, you'll find where you can donate.
Right, Pinky. It looks like you did.
So yeah, it was. Look, if you want to call yourself militia, I'm okay with that. But please
be trained.
Be trained, because an untrained militia, you end up looking like the NFAC when they marched on Stone Mountain, and then I'm going to have to laugh at you.
I would say just even as an individual. I mean, you know, a lot of people come out and say, "Oh, I am the militia," and it's like. Now, granted, we do have militia groups. Like I know my brother Gray out there; he's a very important part of his locale. but you've got the individuals out there that do train and are proficient. And
to be honest, every American citizen is part of a militia, if you really want to go with the broadest definition of it. However, the reality is, unless you have worked with these people, learn how to move as a unit, learn how to act as a team, you're really not part of the militia. You're just a gun enthusiast. You may be a patriot. There's nothing, but you could be a gun enthusiast and be improperly trained on the handling of your firearm. You could be a patriot and be improperly handling your firearm. And I hope you do. If you are a gun owner, you're a responsible gun owner, and you learned how to properly utilize your tool, because that's what a firearm is. You need to learn how to safely utilize that tool so you don't hurt yourself or others. I have no issues with everyone owning guns, but don't claim that you're part of a militia, because the wrong person hears that and says, awesome, I need you to hold security on this area, and you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, very well put. Yeah, very well put.
Yes, well regulated. You are right, Effie. Part of being well regulated is well trained.
18 hell, Arizona AZ infidel. I think we're gonna have to change those numbers to like 15 to like 60. I mean, if you're 70 and can hold a gun.
Look, as long as you have the mental capacity and physical strength to be able to operate your weapon in a safe manner, I see no issue.
Yeah, well, that, and that's a good point that you brought up there too. Because even during the revolution, 3% fought. 3% of the colonists actually fought the king's tyranny, whereas probably 30 to 40% were on board with them. So, they had support from a large amount of the people, whereas you also had the Tories who were on the king's side. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's something, and that's how we're basically going through the same damn thing again.
So, you have a fur belt in Cat-Jitsu. I have a brown belt in Bullshitsu. That's the top in Bullshitsu. I'm just saying.
All right, Gray. Go ahead, man. You got the floor.
He needs to put on his headset first. My man.
What's up?
Sup, Gray?
No, I was going to say Sparky's right. That's why optics are so clean out of my area. Most is because the only people that are doing anything, even remotely militia-like, understand optics and operating as a unit. They're professional.
Trigger. It's not a horrible looking, but it is definitely a horrible smelling dog breed.
And I like what Arizona Infidel put in there.
Like defending the statues and shit. If you want to do that successfully, your best bet is to more or less look more civilian and have more civilian support with you. In those kind of situations. Plus, if they really want to take it, it's fucking insured. But at least you did a peaceful gesture of saying that you disapprove of what they want to do on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And if they really want to take it, well, then let them. So then other people get to say, see, they didn't care what these other group thought.
Yeah, you've got to. If you're going to do peaceful protest, there is definite right and wrong ways to do it. And just like I mentioned, exactly, Arizona Infidel, militias should not be political. Should not be political at all.
It should just be whatever your locals are interested in backing you to do.
I think fully that you should do things a certain way. And Gray, you've heard me talk about this. So have you, Freedom, and my brother Outlaw here. I don't know if you've heard me, but you have to be aware of the messaging, the image behind what you're doing, what you're saying. So like when the militia members went up to the state capitol in Michigan armed, I critiqued them for wearing long guns, because in a protest situation, long guns is really not really an appropriate weapon, because it's a reach out and touch someone weapon, not much of a defense weapon, where a shotgun and a pistol would be more appropriate for imaging. Just because people who are trained in guns and how to use them, they understand the differences between these type of platforms. So it would make it easier for them to get behind that image and make it a little harder, although the news is going to spin it however they want to anyway. But it will make it a little harder for them to keep their credibility and paint these people as bad. Did you know that there was a black group that did the same thing in Ohio that never really touched the mainstream media? But I still say that they should have just went with pistols and shotguns. When the NFAC did their little march, I laughed at them because, first of all, they were carrying 22s and armed with airsoft kits. Did you notice that? A lot of they weren't wearing like IBAs. They weren't wearing load-bearing vests or even plate carriers. They were wearing paintball vests, acting like they were something. They looked like a joke.
Well, that, and they looked like a parade detail going down. They weren't even broken up into fire teams, units, anything.
Yeah, they weren't even staggered.
You know,
if you're gonna march like that, claiming that you're under duress and you are under threat, wouldn't you be in a staggered column formation?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So every vet in the world saw them and laughed. I just made a video about it.
Oh yeah, I definitely was having a chuckle at that.
So that's why I say our messaging, our imaging has to be right. So today at this protest, there was people there with long rifles, and honestly, I wish they would have just stayed with their handguns. But okay, whatever. But the whole time, every barrel was down. No fingers were on any triggers whatsoever, except for that one dude with the 911, the older 911, who was unskilled carrying that weapon. Everyone else was extremely cognizant of how they were handling their weapons, and everyone was very respectful. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that.
I see you changed your name there. Former outlaw, now patriot, 3%.
Well, they're trying to turn the Patriots into outlaws, and if we get Biden as president, we're all going to be outlaws. I'm telling you that right now. Everybody in the chat, I think you already know it. But yeah, if the Democrats get the lead, get the reins, we're all outlaws.
Well, I mean, the couple in Missouri, had their weapons confiscated by the St. Louis PD.
Yeah, I saw that.
They had one weapon confiscated.
Yeah, the other one was, they said it was non-operational or something.
That's scary. I guess that was the one Karen was holding. But we have these people who are defending their property. They are charged with fourth degree assault because they were trying to defend their property. The woman in Michigan or Minnesota, the Karen that pointed the gun at the woman when they were trying to leave with the van.
Yep, I saw that. Yep.
She's being prosecuted for fourth degree assault. And the video, if you watch the entire video,
I know
these women were harassing these people.
Yep. And I 100% agree, Sparky. Yet they were pushed to that point because they just wanted to get the hell out of there. But when they backed up, that one black woman started beating their damn van, and I would be concerned at that point because we've already seen how violent these people get.
Yeah,
and
with everything going on right now, I'm surprised there's not more people pulling guns on other people.
I am too. I'll be honest, I am too.
But you cannot demonize people for trying to defend themselves.
Yeah,
ultimately, you're responsible for your own safety.
Well, I hope they realize that that definitely fucks up their political re-election chances.
Does it?
Does it really, though?
Yeah, it doesn't really, because I'll tell you this.
Basically, nobody has any recourse these days unless you're willing to just fucking die on that hill.
Well, people don't even vet the people they vote for anymore.
Nope. They just say, "Oh, D, I'm gonna vote for D."
I met a friend. I met an individual. I did a video on him. E pluribus OTAP, great guy. I met him last week at the gun rally at the 4th of July. A brilliant guy. I really like him. But he was telling me about this one person who is running for the 5th Congressional House seat in D.C. for Oklahoma. And he really supports this individual. And he said, this woman is conservative. And I'm like, okay. She's pro-abortion. I can't vote for her in good conscience because I'm highly against abortion. And some would say, oh, well, that's a single issue. Well, yeah, sometimes there's certain things you're going to be a single issue voter on. If someone is against the Second Amendment, I'm not voting for them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you are against constitutional rights, if you are against life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, I'm not voting for you. And if you support abortion, I feel that violates those principles.
What the hell? The Vatican. Oh man, actually, Josh, oh shit. I mean, great.
True. The SCOTUS is the black popes for the Vatican of political correctness.
Well, yeah, and that's actually that was the point I brought up earlier. Was the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
I mean, they're becoming their own oligarchy, and there's nothing that
they're straight the Vatican, and this is the theocracy of PC.
Well, I mean, we are seeing a theocracy set up. Look, those people that painted over the B and the L in Black Lives Matter in California are being charged with a hate crime. Now,
I don't think hate crime should be a thing. I say if you fucking commit a crime, you get fucking charged with a crime.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole deal. And why is it always that hate crime legislation only goes one way?
Yeah, exactly. Anti-white.
That goes back to the whole idea of social justice lynch mobs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everyone is so worried about offending the Black Lives Matter theocracy, and let's be honest, it is a non-theistic religion, this cult of intersectionality. I'm sorry, but I believe in the separation of church and state.
Same here.
I'm a person who is religious, but I don't believe that my country should force you to my ideology. But right now, we're starting to see that if you do something to offend Black Lives Matter, you're going to get arrested. That is political.
Yeah. And guess what? And technically speaking, no political class is supposed to be held in a higher place than any other in this country.
There you go. Well, what is a love crime? Well, that's simple. That's when I rub one off on someone's pillow.
And they don't know about it.
Yeah. It's wrong. But I did it out of love. Here, have this breath mint. Oh, why is my pillow crunchy?
Yeah, you tell anybody welcome to 1930s Germany, they'll just laugh at it these days because their programs did not see it.
My man, 3%er, you have been quiet, brother.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I've been going and going and going and going so much. I went again today on a pretty long journey looking for some specific things. Wasn't able to find said things. Drove all the way back and got home, and I don't know.
Well, okay. When we get offline, you tell me about it. Maybe I got the answer for you. I got the hook.
Well, I by the time I got home, and just because I've been going so much, I thought, well, I'm gonna lay down and take a nap for about an hour. That way, be ready to go on with Ron tonight and all this and that. Anyway, yeah, so that's why I'm so late, man. I slept a lot longer and harder than I thought. And when you get one of them, you finally get a really good sleep and you wake up all fuzzy headed.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I didn't have any whiskers at all when I went to bed.
Man,
I don't know.
I tell you, some of y'all know this. Some of y'all talk to me offline. I try to put out as much content as I can, but do you know why I'm not putting out content every day like I want to? I'm burned out. I'm emotionally just over so much of this BS. Because I defended this country. I put my life on the line for this country, and it pisses me off beyond no doubt. It's exhausting pointing out everything that I'm pissed off about. And so I have to take a couple breaks here and there just to make sure that I keep my sanity enough so I continue to deliver this message to the audience to let them know they're not alone. Because that's what I do this for. Because I know that me and my man Freedom, me and my man Gray, me and my man 3%er, we may not agree on everything, but we definitely do not feel alone because we have that communication. We have that ability to communicate. But there's people who we don't know, who we don't talk to. They have that opportunity to see the videos, and that lets them know they're not alone. Right. So maybe they join our community so our community can grow, so we can empower people, embolden people to stand up to the mob, so maybe we can get our country back. That's my goal. That's what I want to do.
Now, see, I add on to that goal. I've been trying to find solutions to these problems so people can isolate a problem and then they can think on said problem. Try to figure out a more organized way to deal with a problem at a time.
Well, and see, but you don't really. You're not a video creator, so you're actually out there in the field talking to these people.
Yep.
You're trying to move things forward.
Yes.
My goal is to try to do that, but right now I'm in the point where I believe that we need to community build, and that's what I'm doing. That's the reason why I have my channel, is to help build that community so people know they're not alone, so they will feel more empowered to do exactly what you're doing, Gray. Mm-hmm. So it's all part of a process, right?
Yeah, and that's why I have parts and pieces.
There you go.
Yeah, and not to mention you got that really cool background there, Sparky. I don't think any of us have an issue with that.
Well, honestly, I need to get one of these flags to bring to protest, because a lot of people like, hey, I'm one of those don't tread on me types. You don't mess with me, I don't mess with you. But if you do mess, okay, I'm probably going to bite you. I'm a live and let live person for the most part. But now I'm tired of just saying don't mess with me. Now I'm like, don't sing it, bring it. I'm tired of it. There's several times you look at my NFAC comments, people are talking this, that, and the other, and I'm like, bro, all I do is hear you talk, and don't sing it, just bring it. I'm tired. You talk big, get out from behind your keyboard and just do it. Just do the damn thing so we can finish it off. And a lot of times once I say that, they stop smack talking.
Well, I think that's one of the things that, has gotten me so tired here lately, is because I'm really, I've been a prepper, a responsible person, an extra responsible person for a long time. But, there's a certain level you get to when you're doing this, and then you start to realize that, man, like the things that I've been doing, have I really been practicing this properly? Have I really been practicing this part over here at all? Have I been taking this prep over here and applying it out in the woods? Have I been applying it, around, so that's something that I know a lot of people do is a lot of people, man, I've got a buddy, for instance, man, I've got such gun and this many mags and I've got this much ammo. And I say, well, when's the last time you shot? Oh man, it's been a couple of months,
Well,
Okay.
see, here's the deal, and I mentioned this when talking about police. And I talked about how the military is constantly training to make sure that they're at their best when they're performing the mission, and cops don't have that opportunity. Preppers don't have that opportunity as well because, well, we all have lives, right?
Yep.
Those of us who are married, we all have a honey-do list. Those who are not married, you have a hey me do list. Okay, we all have things that we have to be able to do, and so some things slide through the cracks.
Yes, I
You
can
can
still
never
talk
prep
about it.
for everything. You may want to, but even look, the road to hell was paved with good intentions.
Yeah. 9 million. What do you mean? Could I talk? You want to hear my voice? Okay. All right. So.
Yeah.
Fe. Yeah. So yeah, just basically, if you want to contact me, or any of you, that's just my handle and 73 at the end. And this world is going to hell in a handbasket. I mean, there are fires burning all over, but yet, most of us can look out our front window or out our back door, and it's like I don't see any of that. But yet we know what's happening in these other places, and we need to prepare for that. And God, I don't know.
Well, see, I would say if you're not prepared, you're way behind the curve because the time to prepare is over. Now it's time to panic buy, get what you need, because it's about time to do the damn thing.
That's exactly why I was that's exactly why I was telling you, that I'm trying to pick up certain set items that I've really defined. You know what I'm saying? I'm really defining my responsibilities. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, now I always tell people this: you have to separate need versus want.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Need first.
Well, sorry, I had to turn that air conditioner off. It's getting cold. Even though I got my shop building doors open, my little air there is chilling me out. See, that's the funny thing is, I had plenty of money to pretty much buy anything I wanted when I went to a gun show today. Is what I did. Okay. There was one particular item I was looking at. Now, did I see multiple items that I would love to have? Absolutely. But haves and needs were two different things. So I had specific items, so I came back with the same amount of money I left with because I did not find the specific items. And as soon as I do find a few things, then I'll be spending some money. So yeah, needs and wants. Yeah, there was a lot of shit in there I wanted, man. I was like, golly, I had some beautiful weapons in there, man. But hey, man, it is what it is.
My man Freedom, I love his helmet. Now, I was actually looking at ballistic helmets. I was looking at ballistic helmets the other day because I want to buy one myself because I feel that I need one. And I actually looked at the same model you have right there, and I've determined that is not what I need. I do need a level 3 helmet. But I'm ordering a more modern operator style Kevlar helmet. What they use in the military currently, not what they used when I was in.
Billy just got one of those. Was it yesterday? The day before? I think it was yesterday.
And the reason why I want that one is because I can wear communication headsets or my earmuffs while firing, and it doesn't interfere with the fit or the protection of that helmet. So that's the reason why I'm going with that model.
And yeah, Tigger, I can still hear with that. It is a little bit muffled, but you can still hear pretty well. So you could hear somebody maybe sneaking up on you, depending on how loud they are.
Because when I'm carrying, I'm always wearing glasses outside, so I protect you there.
Good to see you, my brother.
But I was looking at load bearing vest because I have a basic plate carrier, but I want a load bearing vest, a load bearing plate carrier. That way I can carry my entire kit without having to over modulize or anything like that.
Yeah, like put on your carrier, then put on your backpack, put on it. Yep. I get what you're saying. Yep.
I'm trying to go with a setup almost like what I wore in Afghanistan and Iraq because it's what I'm familiar with. It's what I'm comfortable with.
3A ballistic. Nice, Sean.
Well, the thing about it is I am well prepared in everything that I discussed a little bit ago. I'm just trying to more define some stuff, get a little, just get some stuff more defined, it's I don't know, man. I'm just gonna say it, man. I agree with you, Sparky. It's coming quick. It's
around November, right around November, man. I don't think it matters who gets elected. We're gonna see shit going down a lot bigger than we are now.
I hope you're wrong, but I know you're right. That's the way I feel.
Yeah.
What I want versus what the reality is going to be. It's let's face it. This is going to be the most important election of all of our lives.
Possibly, yeah, probably.
No, I won't even say possibly. I'm saying definitely will be, because if the wrong person gets elected, we will lose rights. If the right person is elected, we still may lose them. But damn it, we need that defense. You determine who the right person is, because I'm not going to tell you that. Because if I tell you what to think when something bad happens, you're blaming me for it. No.
Well, no, I mean you can look at that both sides, and it's like, okay, well, this guy wants to take away our guns, and this guy keeps saying he wants to protect our Second Amendment, although he's fucked up on that one pretty fucking hard.
Well, okay, a lot of people want to criticize Trump on the bump stock ban.
And giving the ATF the permission to do it.
The ATF, give the ATF permission, I think, is stupid. I think the bump stock ban, honestly.
Now they're going after ghost guns. You know that, right?
They're going after what?
They're going after 80%.
Oh, God.
They don't even want you making your own fucking firearms.
Of course they don't, because they can't control it. And there's nothing wrong with that. We need to get people in office that'll fix those problems.
Yep.
But see, here's the deal about the bump stock ban, and brace yourself, chat. You're not going to like this.
I'm going to smack you, Sparky.
Bump stocks are bullshit. If you like them, you like a fucking novelty. It's like putting a condom on after you've stuck holes through it. Okay? It is pointless. If you like the novelty of a bump stock, you are fucking clown shoes. I'm sorry, not sorry. Okay?
Let me speak up.
Yes, sir.
Let me speak up.
Yes, sir.
I owned at one time, I bought a bump stock for an AK-47.
Right on.
I took it out. I shot about 2 magazines through it.
In about 5
I couldn't hit the broadside of a damn barn, but I'm gonna be honest with you.
It was fun.
I got it on sale for $100, man. It was the best damn $100 I ever spent, because it was funner than shit, and then I sold it.
But
took
I'm
it off my
talking
rifle.
about for an actual application of use.
Yeah,
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I'm speaking up. I sold, I took it off my rifle and sold it, man. I at a gun show, traded it off actually.
Yeah.
At a gun show, man, dude, it was,
give me
it was
give me a
fun.
2x4 and a nail. I can make one.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. Dude, when I started shooting that damn AK with that bump stock on it, I'm talking about, man, dude, I shot the ground, the target, the trees, limbs were falling out of trees and shit.
As long
Man,
as-
it was just,
Yeah,
I was just like,
I know.
hell yeah, man, this is fun.
I don't think
reminder,
the
though.
banning.
I want to repeal the NFA. I think that if we would have never, if that NFA bullshit never would have gotten passed, we would be in a much better place right now. We
You know
wouldn't
what I
have
would-
people dying left and right. If we didn't have these Democrat-controlled cities that have all these goddamn restrictions on firearms, you would see a lot less people getting killed, because you know what? An armed populace is a polite populace.
It
or
is.
society.
You know what I want
Right.
to see them get rid of? You really want to know what I want to see them get rid of? I want to see them get rid of background checks, because you know what background checks truly are. All they are is a
Right.
database for
Mhm.
Big Brother to know where the guns are, so they know where the threats are. You know
Yeah.
what America needs? America needs a fearful government. Plain and simple. The reason why our government has been held at bay for so long is because ultimately they were concerned with the populace rising up. The Japanese even said, after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, we awoke a sleeping giant. The reason why no one has ever invaded America is simply because there is a gun behind every blade of grass.
And the tenacity of the American. I
So-
mean, we are. We're not like the French. You know, we are.
Exactly.
We are a proud society. We're
Are
fighters.
we? No, hold on. Are we? I got to push back on this.
Of
Because
society.
lately, what I have seen online tells me something completely different. Lately, what I have seen from the American public is I have seen a spineless, weak citizenship not willing to stand up. They are starting to now, and I am starting to feel proud again. But are we really the proud society that we once were? Because how many months have we allowed our cities to burn at the behest of a extreme minority mob?
You know, but you're talking about in the blue cities. You know, I mean,
It doesn't
it's
matter.
like we're gonna have like what we like to call shit hit the fan hotspots. Like Ray down there, he is actually near a hotspot, in a hotspot. And in my community, we're all older. We're a lot more conservative. I mean, everything is like Republican ran, even the governorship. Although Phoenix has a Democrat piece of shit, but I think this election might get her ass out too. But other than that, and so I don't
You know
see
what?
when I look out there, I don't see it. I only see it, like you said, Sparky, in the media. Man,
They
but-
well, hell, they're down at a city near me. You know, the next city down from me, which I don't live in a city, but I mean, they're protesting at a Andy's, which is a ice cream type thing.
yeah,
They're saying that place is racist because
But
ice
they got great
cream.
custard.
Well, they're saying right, but they're saying ice cream was and vanilla ice are all the same thing. Vanilla ice is white, so it's racist.
Okay.
no. The truth is, Billy, do you want? I'll tell them the truth. Okay,
I was
so
just, but
guess-
they are.
I guess an employee went to
Yeah.
work with the BLM shirt on,
They
and
told them they could wear it.
yeah,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hey, Broken Patriot has something. He wrote something here, and you need to see this, Dangerous. Says blue or red, it doesn't matter. It's still America. And see, when my man Dangerous, when you say, oh, well, that's happening just in blue cities. Real Americans, honest to God, liberals. America is a liberal society. All of our laws are based in liberalism. classical liberalism, liberty. Okay. Blue people who fall on the Democrat side are
They're
still
hive
liberals.
They're
They
hive
believe.
mind. They're hive mind.
No,
No,
hold on. I gotta push back.
We've seen this. I mean, they get their hive mind. That just one celebrity comes out and says, "Oh, this, white people, this is wrong," and all of a sudden, everybody in that collective is like, "Oh yeah, we're all against that now." We're just seeing it left and right.
Well, brother, I've got to push back just a little bit because I will tell you this: it's not the liberals, it's the leftists that are that way. Leftists are collectivists. They are the socialists. They're the ones that believe that it takes a village to raise the individual. Well, I will tell you, it takes strong individuals to create a great society. It takes a great society will breed weak individuals. Weak individuals will make a bad society. And the pattern continues. Okay. The liberals are individualists. Leftists are your collectivists. And we need to start delineating between the two, because there are some great Democrats who will stand up, who firmly believe in the values of America. We need to stop making everything about politics and party, and we need to start making it about America versus this foreign invasion of an ideology known as socialism under the woke non-theistic religion known as intersectionality. We need to start realizing this is not a political thing. This is a cultural thing. This is a religious thing. Because if you look at the principles of our major parties in America, they are founded in liberalism and classical liberalism. We just have different ideas on how to get to that ultimate goal of freedom. So the people who are actually standing out, they may claim to be Democrats, but when you look at what they stand for, they're not following the principles of those parties. They are trying to hijack. They're infiltrating the Democrats. Let's stop making it about political parties, because we got people in the Republican Party doing the exact same thing. They're un-American. We need to call it out for what it is.
Yeah, but
Got me fueled up.
Here's the whole thing, man.
the thing is we're going back to the mob mentality thing. It's like that collectivist gets that mob mentality, and they're like, either we're right. Now, granted, you said it is a small amount. How much do you think? 10%? 20%?
I would actually say the people, the extreme woke left, are less than 1% of America. The problem is they're fucking noisy.
Yes, they're very. And the media is amplifying it.
Exactly. So when you get 330 million people in one country, you take 1% of them. We're talking about 3.3 million people screaming at the top of their lungs, when the other 99% of Americans are quiet.
So it seems like there is no other point of view or no other.
Exactly. So the silence is deafening. It is time for Joe Average. It's time for normie America to stand up for what's right.
Why do you think I do this chat? I mean, granted, I know I don't get a lot of traction. Neither do you. None of us.
No, I don't.
But we're all for the same thing. So I mean, for me, this is a way of putting out my voice.
We have unpopular ideas. You want to know why? Do you know why most people consider the reason why we don't have a million subscribers? You want to know why? I'll tell you why I don't. First of all, I look like this. Second of all, I'm boring as fuck. And thirdly, I have an unpopular opinion. And that unpopular opinion happens to be self-responsibility.
How dare you?
I know.
No, what do you mean you actually take care of your own shit?
Ability?
And I would
That's it, Sparky. That's it, Sparky. I'm out.
I hear you, man.
We just triggered Patriot.
Accountable. As long as I give up my gun, he'll take care of me for the rest of my life. As long as I keep voting Democrat.
So that is really what it's about, okay? I firmly believe the reason why the reason why channels like these do not take off is because a lot of people don't want to take responsibility for the shit they caused.
Mhm.
Okay? They want to gripe about their ass being covered in crap. But hey, they didn't wipe it in the first place. They want someone else to do it for them. And that's the problem. We need America to be responsible again.
Do you think for them? Pretty much. They just made it extra hard so that people have laid around a long time. So now if they do decide to do something, it's going to be that much more difficult than it could have been a few years ago.
You know, I want a Terminator version of Jordan Peterson. I want him to come down with his fucking nice apologetic Canadian demeanor with a big fucking shotgun, and he says, "Fucking make your bed, eh?"
Have you cleaned your room?
Clean your goddamn room, yo. You know, I mean, people need to grow the fuck up.
It's like, stop crying about it and go clean your room.
That is why
He's not wrong.
channels like this don't get popular, because we don't make excuses for our failures.
Yep.
Look, I admitted to the Proud Boys today that I misidentified them as Antifa. And I know you may say, oh, well, that's a small nothing, but I was admitting where I was wrong. Okay? We've got to, as a people, we've got to be able to do that. When we make a mistake, we've got to own up to it. When we do something wrong, we have to own up to it. This is how you America writes.
Hey, Nikki. Hey, Nikki, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind, Nikki.
And that's where I think the problem is in America. Is we have stopped taking responsibility for ourselves. We
Well,
want
yeah,
someone else to do it.
Scared now too. Everybody's so scared they don't realize that the silent majority is a real thing. It does fucking exist, and it's about time that silent majority starts becoming aware of each other and realize they've got the bigger voice. They can tell these 16% of assholes to shut the fuck up. You know?
The silent majority, they need to stop being silent. They need to shout the fuck out.
Exactly.
Okay.
Start fucking going and standing in places and saying no more. You know?
Stop allowing people to tell you, the silent majority, to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
You need to drop them
I
big
agree,
and
man.
hairy balls on someone's chin.
What's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a while. What the hell? I thought you already. Okay. You got a wrench.
You're right, Broken. You're right. You're right, Broken Preachy. We do spend too much time talking in our own bubbles. And that's why I've been going to these protests. And I've talked to these
Well, I
people.
go to listen because there ain't much talking to them. I mean, they don't want to hear anything.
Well, you know what?
Exactly, yeah.
Honestly, I have listened to these people, and then after I turn off the camera, I go back and I talk with them. And you know what? Since I was courteous enough to listen to them, usually they will listen to me for a moment, and then they'll argue, and I'm like, hey, man, just throwing out ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And since the fact that I'm not getting mad, I'm not getting aggressive, they tend to go, I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with you. Okay, well, that's a start. That is a start. It's not perfect. But if I try to strong arm someone into believing what I believe, they're going to rebel. Because leftists are generally, they're rebellious.
They do.
You mentioned it. You mentioned it before. Hey, when we were teens, we were bucking against the system, right? We were bucking against what our parents thought was right. Well, now the Zoomers' parents, the reason why the Gen Z, the Zoomers, if you will, seem to be so based is because right now what's hot, what is considered the establishment, is this woke bullshit.
Horse shit.
Because it is so overinflated through the media.
Yeah.
Because the media is lying to you.
Basically, it's punk rock to be straight edge now.
Pretty much. And so Gen Z seems to be based as fuck.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because the counterculture is conservatism right now.
Yeah. Oh, I see it a lot with the Zoomer crowd too, man. It's like They may not be loud online, but boy, behind anonymous sock accounts, you should see them go to town, man.
Yeah. And look, man, look, we have 20 people watching, 28 likes. If you haven't hit that like button, please do, man. Do this,
Yeah, good call, Sparky.
do this because it
Man,
tells
I want to like these fuckers.
that tells Susan Wojcicki to actually pay attention to what's going on and maybe start bringing some attraction to this channel. And if you haven't done it already, hit F5 on your keyboard right now. Refresh the stream. Boost that view count artificially. Why? Because fuck you, YouTube. That's why.
That's right. Fuck them.
I'm on a roll tonight. I don't know why. It could be.
Fucking screwed, dude.
Look, man, I'm
on the road tonight. I don't know why. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm looking at this shit online here. I wouldn't like none of these motherfuckers on here, man. What the hell's wrong?
especially that guy in the blue shirt, dude. Looks like a white Shrek.
Seems to me everybody's pretty cool. A white Shrek. But Sparky is spunky tonight.
Hey, man, you know, sometimes that just
You're
happens.
so funny.
Brother, I've got that Liberty juice just flowing through my veins right now because I actually got amped up, dude. I love protests.
Oh, hey, Sparky. So, what do you think of all this this recent court decision to re-examine treaties with native tribes? I just call them American Indians because native is whoever the fuck was born here, really. At this point.
We are a country of laws and we must follow our laws. And if we do not follow our laws, we must pay the price for that. Now, does that mean that I agree with the decision ceding half of Oklahoma to a native tribe? No, I do not. However, under the principles of the idea of this country does not exist without the rule of law, our previous Congress did not adhere to the letter of the law, and therefore the state of Oklahoma got smaller for it.
Yeah, now there's talks of that shit over here in California, but
California is nothing but native land. Say goodbye to it. You will
well,
not have a governor in a couple of months.
technically speaking, it was a lot of unoccupied territory because there were so many parts of it that just were not habitable.
Technically speaking, it was all Indian property taken by violated treaties, going by the letter of the law. Hey, but that's good because that means Gavin Newsom will no longer exist.
So does that not?
So what about Arizona?
Tribals
Yeah,
all-
come on, man. We're not giving this back to Mexico. Fuck that.
tribals all-
No. It'll all go to a tribal council is what's going to happen.
Well, I know how those work. I can explain it. They all tend to be pinko communists. They're also opportunists, and they exploit the ever-loving fuck out of their own people on the regular. And then they blame it on Whitey as often as humanly possible.
Well, of course.
You know, even though, yes, it is true, the federal government does make their sovereign territories kind of fucky and confusing at times, and they've never fixed it, you know. But on top of that, you got to think about this. They're not afforded any of the Constitution because they're a sovereign nation. So it's really whatever the fuck that tribal council says goes at that point.
Yes and no. Yes and no. And Nikki,
That's
if you
fine.
want to know more about it, I did a video on this. I put out a video on this. But it all goes back to someone was arrested. What started all this was someone was arrested, tried in state court for raping a 4-year-old girl. This individual was Native American. This individual claimed that he was on tribal land, and that's what brought it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court looked, realized Congress did not follow the letter of the law. They did not dissolve the reservation properly. Therefore, the man was right. He should have been tried in federal court. I believe they let him out of prison today. He raped this 4-year-old girl in 94. He's a disgusting person, and I hope someone kills him. And I'm not a big fan of vigilante justice, but kitty diddlers, for fuck's sake, they should not exist.
Yeah,
but
they don't.
no,
Burn them at the stake. Hell, I don't care if you hang them.
I wouldn't say God made a mistake making them. Look, we are born with certain burdens, certain things that we are more susceptible to, and that is a burden. That is a sin burden that is placed on you, and is your responsibility as an individual, as a God-fearing man or woman, to actually resist those burdens. And that is what homosexuality is. Not sorry, homosexuality is a sin. That is, I mean, it's their burden, and they just failed by succumbing to it.
You know, I just thought of something too that could work in our advantage here in California. It's like, yeah, if we end up in I know for a fact that my town would end up in a tribal jurisdiction. But at least in this case, I know the particular tribe is pretty fond of their guns and shit.
Well,
Yeah, nice.
Here's the thing.
But here's the thing. We're not them. So the only way
If the land,
we'd have to declare ourselves a tribe, and then we'd have to fight them.
if the land was ceded to the tribal communities, here's what actually happens.
I'd fight them.
Local laws would be determined by the tribal council. Enforcement of those laws would be determined under tribal council. Every law that rises to the ability of a felony would be considered federal. Now, where the tribes control the reservation, supposedly, the real truth is Congress controls it. So I believe that they're going to push to make all these treaty lands, they're going to give them back to the Indians. Now, here's the reason why. You don't have congressional representation at the reservation. You do not have a viable
It also reduces
representation that you vote for in reservation land. And ultimately, the federal government controls it.
Well, yeah, they've always been wards of the state, so to speak.
There you go. So these people who are on reservation lands that are going to be taken back, yes, they're going to be taken back. You are actually losing all your representation in DC. You're losing all your representation at the state level. You have no control over who makes the rules for you. You will become a ward of the state, giving the federal government more power. Now, I believe that if the tribal council decides to deny private land ownership rights, God, I hope they make that mistake. That land will be quickly taken back. Personally, what Donald Trump should do right now is he should enact Directive 51, overruling the Supreme Court, going, no, we cannot allow this.
Yeah.
But Donald Trump is a limp dick.
Aren't all the executive did everything executive we've had is pretty much been a limp dick. We need somebody in there that can stand up for the Constitution. I mean, Trump has done a lot for us. I mean, I'm not gonna
No, Trump, look, Trump has been fucking with a half-hard dick the whole time.
Because he knows he's got to get one more term to play hardball, but really he's a soft.
Do you really think that?
I don't know, man. I'm kind of on the fence.
Do I really think that? No, but it's all I fucking got.
I'm on one side of the fence, and I'm looking over the other side.
I don't expect much out of him. I just expect him to just ride this dead horse into the ground.
Well, look, okay, I'm a Trump supporter. I make no doubt about this. Okay, I'm not. I don't pretend.
I don't either.
However, I'm still going to say Trump isn't enough. The reason why Trump isn't enough because Trump has actually done a lot of things towards the Constitution that I agree with. He's done a few things against it. I don't give a shit about the bump stock ban, but I don't think he should have done it in the first place.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was against the Constitution. That's something I disagreed with him on.
It's an infringement.
It made legal garbage that takes decades to clean up. You know.
Yes, but see, here's the deal. It takes the people. In order for a politician to grow a spine, A spine can be grown overnight, but it takes the people showing them that they're willing to stand up, because politicians are going to go whichever way the wind blows. You want the politicians to grow a spine, you got to grow one yourself. And that's what I've been saying. We got to get out there. We got to get normie America out there. We got to get our neighbors out there. We need to start talking. We need to start focusing on freedom. We need to start focusing on the promise that is America. And there are some things we've got to be honest too. America has failed its promise
To the people.
to the people.
Well,
Well,
got
we've got to
soft.
identify that. We've got to call it out. Then we have to go and lead the way to help empower our elected representatives to where they actually feel secure enough to do it. And then we come around the side and we jack them in the side of the face, and we force them to do things like term limits. We force them to do things like, I don't know. I like the idea of a non-political judiciary, bringing it back to the idea of the stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of a non-political judiciary, but I think that needs to be controlled through term limits as well. Now,
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it would be a 4-year. I would say it'd be like a 10-year.
I was getting, I totally agree with that, Sparky. I've been thinking that myself for a long time.
But the only way that'll happen is, first, we have to make the politicians feel empowered, and then we got to sucker punch them and show them it and remind them who they work for. I mean,
Well, I think the whole thing is what is where we need to go with this is that, for number one, this every bit of this shit has nothing to do with black people, white people, Mexican people, and it has nothing to do. It has to do with human race. Humans forever has set up territories. You try to have some kind of defense, then other people come from that territory over there and take your territory, and so it's been a struggle like this since the beginning of time. People take territories and then people try to take them back, and so it's gotten to the point now to where instead of like here in America, for instance, you had the colonists come in, they kept pouring in a little more technology. They had a little more technology than the Indians did, the Native Americans, for instance. So they rolled across the land because of so many numbers and so many, such better stuff, until once the Native Americans had armaments, to fight with, there wasn't that many of them left. Okay. Well, here's the whole thing, giving the tribes back land and stuff. Do you really think the federal government has come as far as it has, and they're just going to give shit up? No, they're not giving nothing up. Okay, no. They're taking, and I can guarantee you there are some things going on behind the scenes with that, giving the whole Indians back their land and stuff, the tribes and stuff. There is something going on behind the scenes. You can count on that they're fixing, the government is going to benefit off of it, period. And they are not going to lose no control over that area.
Well, they can lose control only if we make them. If we ask them to, they are not going to give it up.
The only way that things are truly taken over, the only way.
Good to see you,
Cal. The only way things are truly taken over is through war. Through, it's been like that from the dawn of time. This tribe commits war on this tribe, and whoever wins gets all the marbles. And it's really coming back to the way it is right now. We're going to have to go to war to be able to get power back. So whoever wins gets to write the history and gets to make the rules. So is it going to be us? Is it going to be them? That's the whole thing, man. We've got to
We got to be prepared for it. You know,
It's about war, man.
It's
always been about war.
honestly, Billy, if things really get that bad, I think it'll be a war of attrition. And I think in that battle, we've got them fucking topped by like a lot. We won't even have to kill them.
But dangerous. That's the whole thing. It's always about a war of attrition. I mean, it's always who has the best equipment, who has the best.
Well, you got to remember. You got to
training.
You got to remember. George Washington crossing a frozen river in the middle of the night on Christmas with his troops to go and kill people. So, I mean, that's tenacity. People were fighting with bare feet. I'm just saying, American tenacity is tough, but I think we are way tougher than they are. In fact, Billy and Sparky, and I know Gray will agree on, and everybody in the chat, we are, for the most part, tougher than.
Don't ever underestimate your enemy, though, because fighting war stuff is the actual hand-to-hand, the actual fighting is always important. I mean, that's what totally determines the outcome. But the whole thing about it is from just that little bit of fighting that goes on,
Good
the
statement.
one that has the more that has the more knowledge, that has the more training, the ones that has the best intel, the ones that has all this stuff, that's where the real winners are. That's I mean, we can all go out there and shoot at each other, man. I mean,
no, none of us want that, though. That's just it. I mean, are we prepared?
We gotta have intel.
Are we prepared for it? I mean, we're trying our best to be prepared for it. Do we know we're better prepared than them? Well, I know at least one person in this chat is better prepared. But
look at
better prepared than just about everybody in the chat. But that's not tooting my own horn. It's just a fact.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at John Brown Gun Club. Have you ever looked into John Brown Gun Club? Have you ever looked into the
no, as a matter of
Gun
fact,
Club?
I have not. No, I never did.
Look into the Communist Socialist Gun Club, man. These people are training. They're not going to be a fucking.
I knew that part, but no, I have not seen what kind of training they're doing for those people.
Well, I'll be honest, I was getting ready for many things, but the one thing I wasn't prepared for is this stupid Indian debacle. Because let's face it, these guys, most of them piss away anything that is given to them on a silver platter, like almost without any variation. They all tend to go down the same road, and you'd think they'd learned by now, but they really haven't. Which is probably why my family left reservations before they were ever really a fucking thing,
Well, like I said, man, I mean, it's I don't want to make myself feel like I'm overconfident that we're just going to walk through people and just kick the shit out of them.
No.
If there were no rules, I could probably get away with it, but people that are not exactly fully prepared or organized definitely would have some hard knocks to learn from.
Yeah. And some people aren't quick enough to pick up the pace, you know what I mean? And others are.
I like Nikki's comment because I was talking to her about that.
Yeah,
one day. And
I was gonna say I could bring her in. I'm gonna close this out here in the next half hour. So I mean, I think this has been a really good stream so far. But I've got to watch my minutes on this. I don't have like unlimited, and not to mention there's some things that I want to say and do in the backstage that I can't get away with on the tube. But
why not, Ron? Come on.
All right,
man.
Nikki,
I'm scared you like that.
Nikki, I sent you the link if you want to come on.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, man. There's a lot of these clubs out here that they're on the other side, man. These people are training too. Don't ever mistake. They're just a bunch of man bun soy boys because
there was a group there today.
That's foolish thinking.
There was a group there today called Whites Against Racism. Now that's kind of an oxymoron, right? But the more I looked into them, they are a leftist militia.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't carrying guns
That you could see.
that you could see. But the more I looked into them, these people have a history of starting violence and stuff. And they use more guerrilla tactics than anything. And to be quite fair, the majority of militia people don't even train on guerrilla tactics because a lot of the tacticians don't really fully understand them. Because you've got to be a true student of warfare to firmly grasp guerrilla style warfare. And some of these people, these professional activists, that's what they live for. That's what they want.
I'm telling you, in this country, guerrilla warfare is perfect, man. I mean, I think that's my opinion. I think guerrilla warfare is perfect, man. I mean,
that's how we beat the British. That is how Afghanistan has beat us.
Exactly. And see, and that's the whole thing, is that you don't want, you got to have that intel, man. I think intel is one of the absolute most top things that has to happen in this.
Well, that's the only way to form plans. You're right.
Go ahead. Do what, Gray? I'm sorry.
Well, no, you're correct, because that's the only way to actually form plans that are viable.
Correct. Yes. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, somebody walking, I hope this don't get you in trouble, Dangerous, on the YouTube, but, just walking down the street and identifying a target and a quick stick in the back of the neck, right about in there. I hope this don't get me in trouble. But I mean, that's the kind of thing.
I did put 18 or older on the description, so hopefully.
Well, it don't. Well, the whole thing about it is it don't just necessarily have to be about, going out there and firing rounds at each other. I mean, guerrilla.
Yeah.
Guerrilla tactics.
Oh,
I've got it. That was a good one. Right on, California. Yeah. There's rules to war. There's no rules to fighting, dude. There's no such thing as a fair fight. I don't give a shit.
Well, yeah, there definitely is no such thing as a fair fight. I mean, look at what we're up against. That's why people can't get discouraged, can't fucking fall down. Like, people need to stop chewing on each other and just be more supportive of each other if they can.
Yeah.
Don't go away. I swear I'm gonna strangle myself.
Ghost Tactical. Hey, how you doing there? I already follow his channel, so enjoy the wrench. I know you won't abuse it. I've seen enough of streams with you.
But when you're dealing with leftists, you better believe there's no rules. And the only thing sacred is their sacred doctrine.
Yeah. Like a cult.
We say so.
Just like a cult. And it's just a disgusting cult. It's just.
Well, it is. It's a cult of defects. It's basically they're making everybody feel special by just identifying themselves through their victimhood and their defects. And it's like, that'll only make more defective people, because anytime that you glorify victimhood, you're fucking robbing somebody. And if they're too stupid to realize it, that's a sad thing. That's just a cold, hard fact.
Yeah. Sorry, I got people blowing my phone up.
I know. I do too.
Jeez. No, yeah, that's the whole thing, man, is that there's so much more going on behind the scenes than, I see a lot of these people man, they jump on there and they're just all like, "Oh, we're going to kick everybody fast." Well,
And there's
oh,
hello,
Hi
Nicky.
guys.
Coming in.
What's
Coming in
up?
hot.
So
Nick
what's
coming
up,
in hot.
Nicky?
Hi Gray.
Hi.
Hi Billy. Hi Sparky.
hey,
What's
how
up,
you
Mom?
doing?
Ah, okay. It's late, but I had I had a nap this afternoon, so I'm sort of awake.
We all did, or I did. I came on here late like a son of a gun, man, because I was just, dude, I was busted. I ain't gonna lie. I just, wake up, knocking the slobber off your chin, kind of shit,
That's funny.
So
Keep talking.
Anyway.
I'm still listening. It's a good talk tonight, actually. It had me engaged.
Hey, I'm glad. I apologize to everyone. I know this is Dangerous Freedoms channel, and I've been a little overpowering tonight. And
No,
man, I'm just
actually,
amped up. I am just amped up.
hey,
Because-
hey, Spark.
Yes, sir.
All I can say is, you go, girl.
No,
kidding, bro.
what?
Are you talking about my bitch tits?
Okay, all right. Let's save that for after. Let's save that for after hours. No, but you know what,
Bad
Sparky? I really enjoyed talking with you, and I know that we have some differing opinions, but deep down, I mean, we all believe in the same damn thing. We just want freedom. We want liberty.
Not just for one fucking group or another.
Amen. Yes, for all. Actually, that was one of my handles. Not that was my last handle before I changed it to Dangerous, but it was Freedom for All.
Should change
Because-
Really?
Dangerous accountability.
Yeah, I remember when I was Gulf City.
That's actually a cool handle. That's pretty cool.
You have dangerous accountability because, boy, that is a dangerous fucking concept these days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
They don't want us to be free.
No.
Oh, trust the government. Yeah, it goes back to my what do they call it? My channel marker, whatever. No one can protect you better than you can protect yourself. And
no one will protect you better than yourself because no one cares about you better than you care about yourself.
yeah.
Here we go.
Oh,
Crackhead.
Thank you.
yeah.
Look, what are you doing, man?
What's that?
Epi says a lot of people I know are sleeping a lot lately. I'm starting to wonder about the water.
Yeah.
Summertime. I mean, if you look at the animals, every fucking animal sleeps throughout the fucking hottest parts of the day.
Yeah.
This one does. He's a lazy shit.
Including the animals that lurk at the bus stop.
Yeah. Well, my cat is 16 years old. He can pretty much sleep wherever he wants. He's got free roam of the house.
What are you doing? Bad dog. Bad doggy.
Well,
Ew.
I don't normally nap during the day like that, man. But I was just, I don't know. There was just something, and it was just the only reason why I said something about Epi's comment was that it was funny because
Yeah.
today I felt like I needed to drink a lot of water today, like I was really thirsty. You know what I'm saying? So I drank
yeah, me too.
I drank a bunch of water today.
Thomas Jefferson.
I never thought about it or anything, until she made that comment, and it just kind of made me go, wait a minute. I drank like an extra amount of water today than I normally drink,
All right, so you just make it up with whiskey.
Do what?
Just make it up with whiskey, man. You're dehydrated. You need to hydrate yourself or oil yourself, however you want to look at it. Okay, I want to touch on that one. Actually, yes, we did talk about the. Wait, no, we didn't talk about the St. Louis couple that had. Oh, yeah, for a brief second.
Yeah.
Sparky and I did at the very beginning. We touched on, but no, yeah, I saw that. I thought that was ridiculous. It's just, oh my God, it's just the government trying to get more power. You know, they're trying to scare people.
I
That's
don't get that. Well, I actually posted that in John's feed. I was like, on what grounds did they actually maybe Sparky knows, but on what grounds were they actually able to even just go there and take their damn guns? That doesn't make sense to me.
Because it was used in the commission of a crime.
What crime? They're on their own property. Like
4th degree assault is what they're charged with.
Oh my
What?
God, that's not gonna fly.
Really?
Not in a court.
That's what they're charged with. Is 4th degree assault. Pointing a deadly weapon at an individual is considered 4th degree assault.
On your own property.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So basically, you can't frame your 357 on Gary. That's against the law.
I wouldn't anyway.
I know you never would, anyways.
No.
Some people don't get to see the fanatic.
Everybody thinks I'm a crazy chick, but I'm actually extremely responsible, believe it or not, when it comes to my firearm.
All right.
What did you say, Greg?
I was saying the fanaticism is the problem that people don't really see with leftists. Leftists are very fucking fanatical.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that they're the kind of people that are so fanatical they'll burn down their own fucking house to fucking get to you if they have to, if they think that will get you. You know?
That's crazy. That's insane. I mean,
You're that fucking warped, so you got to keep in mind you're dealing with people that fucking warped in the head, and then you're dealing with their masters. You know.
Good to see you, Nachos. Glad you could make it.
Well, the whole good thing about the St. Louis deal is that, prosecutors, district attorneys, whatever, they stand up there and I can stand up here and say, you know what, next week I'm going to go and try out for the Dallas Cowboys and get a spot on their team. But that doesn't mean that that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So they can stand up there and scream the whole damn, we're going to prosecute them for this and that. Getting a conviction is different because there's, the good thing about today is there's a lot of video, and
Yep.
They get some of the video footage of them people, man, they broke in their gate on private property. They freaking there's video of them saying that they were going to kill them people and kill their dog.
I have one problem with them. No. See, I think them charging just to quell the mob should be criminal, because in order for you to defend yourself, it's going to cost money. Okay.
Oh, I agree with that.
Because
like
I said at the beginning of the stream, I was talking about how you need to have competent representation. That's supplied by the people.
Oh, by the way,
but good representation, not necessarily.
This is my plug for USCCA. If you don't have it, they are a very good company. I've been with them for the last 2 years. If you're going to carry a gun, especially like everyday carry, like most of us, I would suggest them or even US Lawfield, but get some kind of insurance. Okay, that said.
Yeah.
Yeah, your best insurance is use a revolver that don't drop shells and wear a mask the whole fucking time.
I like it.
And get the fuck gone after. That's the only fucking protection we have.
That'd be great. We're still live. We're still live. All right, we're still alive.
Actually, Ron said that a few weeks ago, didn't you, in one of your things? And I actually looked that up because I never actually thought about that until you guys talked about it, the insurance thing. Because even though we've got stand your ground and literally pretty much anything flies down here in Florida, you can get away with murder, literally. But it's actually a good idea to have it. So it was actually thanks to you, Ron. No, I looked that up and we're actually getting that. So, yeah, we're getting it. Pretty cool.
Nikki, say hi to Eric.
Hi, Eric. Wait, where's Eric? Oh, hi, Eric. I haven't seen him in a while. Yeah. What's up, dude?
Gray, that's a very true statement. Yeah, but you protect yourself and they ruin your life by bleeding you dry in court.
Yep.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. I mean, when I said that statement a little bit ago, they can throw all the charges at you they want, but I mean,
They're fucking
the good thing
outlaws.
about it is,
They weaponize the legal system against normal people.
Exactly. And if
Right.
you prosecute with malicious intent, you should have to go to prison.
You
and get
should have to go to prison.
So we started this stream. Basically, that was my intent, was about the judicial system and how they are the oligarchs. And so now we're going to finish the stream. The judicial system seems to believe they have the power to override anything and everything, and we have to end that.
I agree. Yep.
how do we do that, Ron?
It's above my pay grade.
Well,
You know what? But I'll tell you this: when we have a good plan, when we all have a good plan, we know what to do. I mean, right now we're just talking amongst ourselves, and granted, it's a small group, but you know what? We're a tight group. I mean, I feel like I'm family with all of you. Okay, even you in the chat. Yes, I know, and yeah, that's how I feel. And so, anyways, so I'm still making my voice out here, but the thing is we need to get more people with the same voice, and I believe we're doing it. It's taking a slow process. And as far as like all the tactical end, I would leave that to Gray, but he's not going to discuss that live in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So
I've got a question about that. Would with all the people that, okay, so if you control the food and the situation, you pretty much control the people, right? I mean, the money and the food. You can pretty much control any situation, okay? Would you say that I know, but would you say that tactic that has been deployed at this time, would you say that it is backfiring in the way of people are waking up and saying, whoa, wait a minute, we don't like this all of a sudden? Nobody can go to freaking work. Nobody can, I mean, I went to a gun, to a gun deal today, and there was some ammo there. There was some pretty guns, but man, dude, they had a Ruger Blackhawk 357 that looked just like the one that I own. And I thought, I seen it kind of down the table a little bit, and I thought, well, now I might be interested in getting that, because I already own one and kind of have a pair of them. And I walked down there. You know how much they wanted for that thing, man? They wanted $800 freaking dollars for it, dude. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Dude, I was seeing off name brand pistols, name brands I've never even heard of before. I was looking at them. I was like, what the hell is that? Man, they were like $650, $700, dude. And I was like, man, so people are aware, man. Do you think that them doing this whole cerveza bug and this whole food shortage, toilet paper shortage, do you think that it's causing a backfire and maybe having a adverse effect on what the people, the people, the uppers wanted the effect to have? Because they thought maybe they could scare the hell out of everybody and just do what they want? Or do you think it's having an adverse effect?
It's easier to scare people into agreeing with you and going along with the shit that you're trying to push. It's way easier to scare people into making stupid ass decisions.
Mm-hmm.
They're lazy, especially if they perceive that you have some power to save them, not realizing that that sole decision's not up to you exclusively. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, that's exactly right. True. I mean, I
Okay.
just look around me, even in my own neighborhood. I can't tell you the percentage of dumbasses that live around me. And I mean, it's no offense, because some of them are nice folks, you know? But good
Right.
Lord, I mean, they're dumbasses. And even just on my street, because they're well-meaning, but dumbasses. And so, like, even just on my block, you know, I'm thinking, we're fucked. You know, because when I start multiplying that by every town, city, and everything else, I'm just like, oh boy, we're in bad shape. Because it's a very small percentage of us that are wise to what's going on. And when you look at the dumbassery of what's going on across the nation, people are literally sitting on their asses waiting for somebody to hold their hand because they can't think for themselves. And these people are the ones that are, yeah, right. Anunnaki is totally right about that. They are, man. They're just sitting on their asses waiting for somebody to hold their hand and tell them what to do, you know. And I don't know. A lot of them, like around us, are getting angry because their businesses are getting screwed and all that. But the truth is, I'm losing hope every day, man, because I'm telling you, even like my neighbor to the left of me, I told you guys before, she's sitting there like, oh, I'm good. I'm just hanging out. We're not going to work. I'm just waiting for a good vaccine. I'm like, what?
Oh,
And so
God.
I was like, all right, Jake's almost, Jake's, well, I was only out there because my dog was taking a dump, and I was like, all right, Jake's almost done pooping. Let me just go inside before I run my mouth because it's not going to end well, and I just have to go inside, you know. And then I go inside, and I want to pull my hair out because I'm like, really, people? I mean,
All
come
right.
on now. Wake up.
I've got a good comparison to that one, Nikki. Okay, so my mom she's mostly conservative, and anyways, she came up when they started talking about the vaccine. She's like, "Oh yeah, when they get the vaccine, I'll take it." I just looked at her, kind of gave her a look, and I'm like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I wouldn't, but." I mean, you know, even she's been lulled into that, and she's a conservative. I mean, me personally, no, I am not getting a vaccine. I don't even get a flu shot. I don't think I've ever had a flu shot in my life.
Welcome. I'm all about consensual things. If it ain't fucking consensual, it ain't happening.
Yep. Nobody. Yep. Nobody's gonna rule over us. We do not have a king. And in fact, didn't they mention that maybe George Washington should have been king?
Yes,
Way
George
back in the-
Washington. George Washington was actually asked to be king by the Continental Congress. He refused on the principle, we just fought to get rid of a king. Why do we need why should we have another?
Exactly.
Amen. But now with our government, we've got a new one.
I'd be like, that's insane. We're not going to repeat the same bullshit and expect different results.
No, see, I don't think we have a
Yeah,
king.
well.
I think we have lords, and that's a problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because in reality, currently America is probably ran by about 8 different families. They're all intertwined, all incestually, all
It's
mixed.
kind of creepy to look at, but it's fucking true.
Yeah.
Yep.
A little bit of inbredness there.
And you can tell that they've set it up like an oligarchy.
Yeah. That's the exact word there. Yeah, exactly.
How do you say that? Because I don't want to screw that name up. I have watched some videos.
Oligarchy is when
Annika the One.
control of everything, you know, like the house of this or the house of that, you know.
It's
Hey,
see, what
so
do we got? We're at,
Little
you know what? Hey, Freedom.
Yeah.
I know you're asking if we should continue on, but man, we've been going on now for almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
You've got 20 people watching right now. You've had solid engagement.
man.
How about we put a pin in this and we hit this running next week with the same energy? Because honestly, well, I got to use the restroom. I'm sure other people. But listening to us drone on for more than 3 hours
Yeah.
might be excessive, right? Let's end it.
And there might be a
Right?
few things. There might be a few things that we say that we probably shouldn't put on live stream.
Well, you know, not
Uh,
necessarily that. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about because after a while we get into that circular talking, right? We just say the same thing over and over.
yeah.
People who's been watching from the get-go, thank you for staying tuned. But we're trying to save you from having to endure more of that.
True. Although some of them would like to join us. In fact, we have had like California Critic. We've hung out backstage. Scott Marsh, I have not gotten you backstage yet. That'd be interesting.
Well,
Hey Scott, can you do a StreamYard?
Where's Gulf City?
Gulf City is down in Texas, and they're
Oh, it
actually, yeah, it's a community,
Houston.
and I've been part of it for like the last 5-6 years.
Oh, cool. No, I see golf. I always think Florida, you know.
Oh, okay, Scott. Well, you know what? You can always hit up my my email. It's just my handle 73 and Gmail. I don't mind. I mean, it's not like I've got so many viewers. I'm getting 5 million fucking emails a day. You know what I mean?
well, the whole thing about it is for
Evie,
me, is I'll
Evie,
I'll
would
stay
you
on
like
here
to
all
join-
night or whatever.
I'm sorry. I cut you off, Billy. I'm sorry.
I said I'll stay on here all night or cut it off now or however y'all want to do it, brothers. I like to roll with the flow. You know what I mean?
I got you. Hey, what's up, JTR? All right. I'll tell you what. I'll keep going for just a little bit longer. Now we got some
Wait a minute. Wait, put California Critics deal up there.
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby.
Yeah, it's funny. California, I just read that. Oh, that's awesome.
Man.
Be like, hey, I got something for you to drink.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Oh,
man.
God, that's priceless.
Oh,
That's
man.
awesome.
Perfect.
Good to see you, JTR. I hope everything's going well for you, brother.
What's up, Jack, my brother?
No, that's funny.
That is
I know. We all call him Jack.
I will be back in a few minutes. I've got to take.
Go.
All
ahead.
right.
You gotta drain the main vein.
Yeah, I've already taken a piss like 3 times.
I got to talk to a man about a horse.
Go ahead.
I'll be-
Dude, you got some real stamina. I'll give you that.
Hey, Sparky, a squirrel find a little nut once in a while.
Not on this property. I'll shoot his ass. Damn squirrels. I got a squirrel problem. Now I have a raccoon problem. Holy shit. Like, to add like 1 minute of light to this conversation, I go, like, my cat sits at the door and he's like staring. I'm like, what the fuck's he staring at?
He
Never
wants,
does that.
he wants
He's deaf.
to
I told you guys he's deaf, right? My Jack Russell's hanging out. He doesn't see shit, and he's usually on duty all the time. And so I walk around the back. I'm looking out the patio door, and there's a humongous raccoon literally right on my patio next to the barbecue. I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I got to deal with snakes, iguanas, squirrels. Now I got a big fucking raccoon on my patio. Oh, sorry about my mouth.
That's all right.
Are you kidding me? Like, everything in Florida is trying to screw you over all the time. I'm like, shit. So I'm like, Jake, I go to grab my rifle, right? And the minute I grab the rifle, though, the dog loses his marbles because he thinks I'm going to shoot something, and he's barking. And of course, the raccoon's smart, and he like runs away. And then that fat thing ran up my avocado tree. I was like, where'd he come from, man? And of course, Gary was like, oh, they're so, yeah, Gary's like, they're so cute. Don't shoot them. I'm like, Gary, they've got bugs. Yeah, fuckers, they've got bugs and they're going to eat my food. And he's on my patio, you know. No, the raccoons are the worst, man. But this thing was humongous. It wasn't like a baby raccoon. This thing was big. I was like, are you kidding me? What else do I have to deal with now? So I'm like, I don't even want to let Jake out when it's dark at night because I don't want the damn, because the problem with Jake is he's like a bulldog, you know. He'll go after that thing and he won't quit. And in case it's like rabbit or something, I don't want him to get hurt, you know, and whatever. So it's like I need to shoot this thing, but I've been trying to find it. He hasn't been back in 2 days, so I'm still working on it.
Did you say what? Nikki, did you say what?
9 Mia in the chat definitely knows what you're talking about.
Did you see what Annika the one? Is that how you say
It was
it?
a midget in a mask.
It's Ananuki.
They're
Oh.
freeloading. The raccoons are freeloading because they learned from your state officials.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. You're right. That's so funny. Oh shit! Oh my god! Yeah, if I let the cat out, the cat probably would have just totally jumped on them. But you know, when they get that close to your personal space, I don't trust them because I mean I dealt with that stuff in New Jersey. We had a raccoon that literally ripped the innards out of one of our cats,
Oh,
and I
man.
had to I had to shoot him out of an oak tree. I killed it. This thing was huge.
I can tell you.
Yeah.
Hang on, I can tell you an interesting thing about that, because where I live, coon hunting is actually pretty big thing. We have coon dogs and stuff. Hey, I'm serious. You train your dog to not go into the water after a raccoon, because they will drown a dog. They will ball up on its head and push and the weight of the raccoon, and they will push the dog's head underwater and drown him. That is
Really, I never knew that.
Wow, that's
See, Jake actually won't go into water. He's the one Jack Russell that actually doesn't swim.
and my
I'm
dog,
trying to
my
teach
dog's
him,
not
yeah.
a huge, my dog's not a huge fan
That's,
of water.
that's like a duck that don't swim.
So wait, Billy, they'll actually purposely try to drown the dog?
damn right they will.
No
Damn right.
shit. I never
They
knew
will
that. Oh my
ball
god.
up. They will wrap them damn crazy ass hands they got, you know, all around that dog's head, drown the shit out of him, man.
Oh, shit, that's crazy.
California critic. The New Jersey ones are part of the Teamsters.
I tell you something. I can actually tell y'all a funny story about raccoons. One time, this
You're right on, California. You're right.
well, one time I found some baby raccoons, okay, and I run the mama off, and we got the baby raccoons. So I had 3 of them, right, and I raised these raccoons. Well, I give one of them away to another friend of mine, so I had 2 raccoons, and I raised them up like I had to bottle feed them and shit. They were babies, and so I raised these raccoons up.
Ugh.
Well, after they got real big, you know, I built this big ass cage for them and shit. After they got real big, I had this dog, man. He was just old shit eater dog, you know. He wasn't no kind of special breed or nothing. He was just old shit eater, you know. So the dog kept trying to get in the raccoon cage with me. You know, I'd go in there and I'd pet them and mess with them, you know, and feed them and stuff, clean their cage out. So one day I decided, all right, a couple of us was over there at my house, and so we started kind of cheaping on the number, you know what I mean? So we get like really free, should the word be right? I don't want to say anything wrong on the YouTube here. We were cheaping on a number, you know what I mean? And so we got really fucking high, and so the dog, he's trying to get into the raccoon cage, right, again. So my buddies is all like, hey, put him in the cage, so I put him in the cage. I swear to y'all, man, them 2 raccoons, one of them balled up on his ass and one of them balled up on his head, and they started fucking my dog. Their little penis was hitting him on the That dog didn't know what to do, and he just laid down and he started whining. And these raccoons, it was some of the funniest shit I ever seen in my life, man. We laughed so hard. And then I felt sorry for the dog, man, so I went in there and I run him off and shit. and got the dog out of there. And I'm gonna tell you, from that day on, dude, if that dog was a 5-gallon bucket of water, you couldn't pour him near that raccoon cage, dude. Near that raccoon cage.
Oh my God.
They mentally abused the hell out of that dog, dude. Dude, God dang, dude.
Those damn coons. Oh man.
Fucking coons, man.
Are we even allowed to say that still? I mean, I'm from the South. We still call them coons.
Oh, God.
Right? Nice
I just got some
idea. Yeah, this is why I love them too.
This went for a month.
I have not been banned from YouTube yet. But
I love raccoons, man. I wished I'd like to have a couple more of them as pets, man. They're actually really cool.
Kidding me? No, that's it. I swear to God, I hope he doesn't come on my patio again, because I'm gonna get me a new hat. I actually like hats.
and
That's it.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Wild raccoons.
He's
Dude,
toast. They're
can
not that
coons.
cute and cuddly. Fuck them. I'm gonna kill. Ooh, sorry. Not that was an F. It was a PH.
No.
I'm gonna.
Hey,
He's gonna be a hat.
There's Effie. Oh, she okay? Hello, Effie.
Hey, y'all.
I don't trust him.
Coons.
Never trust a raccoon.
Uh-oh.
I
Shit's fixing to get interesting now.
like that picture.
That's my fuzzy butt. I drew it. It's his campaign button.
I love,
He's running for president. That's his platform. Obey.
I love that. And wait, I gotta get closer. Obey that. Oh, I love that. That's so cool.
I had to join y'all because there was only 5 and I wasn't balanced out, and my OCD was driving me nuts. I couldn't stand the way the screen looked. So that's the only reason why I'm here.
You're not here because you love us. You're just here to balance it out.
I just needed to balance out the screen. I could take y'all to
I can't believe you're not here because you love us. My feelings are hurt. That's it.
I
That's
love
it.
y'all and your raccoons.
Oh, you just triggered Billy. Oh, crap.
You know I love you.
That's it.
Effie, it's good to see you, hon.
Yeah, I can't be showing my face because I'm wearing my PJs and I'm mixing my drinks. I'm having Diet Dr. Pepper and Diet Coke together.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Getting kind of wild over there.
I know. I lost control. I opened up a second one before the first one was done. I'm like hand over hand right now. The party up in here.
So, hey, I want to point something out. California Critic said that I had a raccoon named Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein.
I was laughing at that.
You guys are sick.
Dude, I'm telling you, California Critic is a blast, dude. He's
The funny thing about it is,
Marcus.
the funny thing about it is that their names were actually Chip and Dale.
You know, Tim Walsh got his federal aid rejected. He's like, I need aid to rebuild after all these riots. And the Fed was like, yeah, nope.
So, great. You heard about President Trump and the starting a memorial garden for the statues?
I've heard about more interesting things than that.
Okay.
Yeah, like America and other black leaders just came out saying that they're not going to be accepting the COOF vaccine, and they say it's part of a depopulation agenda. So, oops, I think they just lost their useful idiots. So things are looking up, folks.
Right.
Yeah. So, when are they going to carve Trump's face on the Mount Rushmore? About another 20 years? 10 years?
I don't know. Probably not going to be an issue. I'm just glad that some fucking some kooks finally turned out to be useful, not just fucking kooks.
Yeah. Nuts. Well, you know, it was actually as long as about 3 weeks ago or something. I'm losing track of time, but Farrakhan came out and he was like, all right, none of you basically BLM dudes and all of that stuff, don't take the vaccine. And I said, oh, see, everybody needs to hear that and see that. Because he's telling all those guys, you know, don't take the vaccine. Excuse me. He knows what's up, you know. So while they're busy ripping statues down, all of us dumbasses are going to be in line for a vaccine. Well, not me, but, you know,
Yeah.
like neighbors, the Karens of the world.
Well,
So-
I'm gonna try. I've already told you that my mom wants to get it, and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna push her a bit harder if they do come up with one, because I just don't trust. I don't trust it. I don't trust our government.
You can't do that.
I
You
don't
don't
trust.
need it. It's
I don't
ridiculous.
trust any. I don't trust any of these departments at this point.
No.
And none of you should.
Nonsense.
Don't trust any of them. They have it in for us.
Well, I
They-
already know they got it in for us. That's why I ain't trusting any fucking government agency.
Amen.
Hold on. Go 50 said, Raccoon Epstein didn't hunt himself.
Heard him.
Air himself.
Yeah.
Good one.
So, I do have a serious question, though. I've got a serious question if I can ask it. Sparky, did it take that long to find it?
Oh no, fuck Obama. He don't get to be
No,
on
no, no.
fucking turd.
I went and smoked a cigarette and talked to my wife for a moment and got myself some more tea.
Yeah. Well,
But it did take a few moments to clear the pipes, man. Because whoa,
Black cheese.
You gotta shake it a couple of times, man. I hate that one shake, and then you're walking around and your leg is like wet for the next 10
look,
minutes.
look, man, you gotta shake it. You gotta shake it as much as you can because it's yours. You know, some people say you're playing with it. Well, hell, it's fun. Why not?
Oh,
Wait a
actually,
minute.
This is another way
it's
where
not
I
about
think
chips.
women are
What they're
superior.
doing is they're
I'm
implanting
proud of being a woman right now.
essentially
I mean, really.
microscopic
On
circuitry.
Anunnaki, I have never questioned that at all. So you wouldn't even be here, or if you were, you're still on the same common basis. We want liberty, period. That's what we all want in this chat. We just want liberty, individual liberty.
And chocolate.
You know, the government is not doing its fucking job. Why people are not firing the ones that are corrupt or not doing their job is beyond me.
It's not as easy as that. You know, that's why. Yeah. It's
Well-
just follow the money, man. It's so easy, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
a lot of the problem is
Pay 'em off. Yep.
the majority of Americans are apolitical. They don't care about
Crazy.
politics because they feel it doesn't affect them.
That's good, California. I'm sorry. That's really funny. A midget burglar. Oh, that's great. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, California critic. She'll just compost it.
Holy shit.
She'll just compost it. Nobody will know. It's just a midget.
No lie. If I can catch him and shoot him, I'm
Oh my
totally putting
God.
a screwdriver in his head and making a picture for you.
Now my mind goes back to the Andrew Dice Clay about midgets. Hey, I thought
Oh,
he was wrong.
Oh my God, that's funny.
What's up, man? Christy Jennings, good to see you on.
That's funny.
Hey, I do want.
Oh man, yeah. Christy, you got a point. Yeah. I've had things shoved up and through my nose. I've been in the hospital for that, and
What?
dude, when they test you for that COVID, they shove a fucking like a swab all the way up and around your nose, your nasal cavity, from what I understand. And a lot of people say it's very painful, and I can.
Painful. Yeah, one of our friends had it, and they said it feels like it's literally going into your brain, and it's like, what's the point? You know? I
Yeah,
don't get it.
on Anuki, that's
Stupid.
actually that's beautiful.
I think that I'm gonna say that how do you say it? Ananuki?
Ananuki, the one.
Anunnaki.
I-
I'm like
Anunnaki.
hardcore into that stuff. I love Anunnaki's name.
If we want to go
Anunnaki, baby.
if we all right,
Love
Ananuki.
that.
I call it.
Wait, I watched a video of him building a deck, and I believe it was for a neighbor or a person in his community who had I think it was some heart problems or something. Am I correct on that? Wasn't that your video that I saw on that?
He's like,
I gotta scan out now. I'll catch you all later.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
All right, Gray.
Bye now.
love
See
you.
Oh man, great guy right there, man. Very smart.
Gray is
Oh, yeah.
sexy.
Now we're unbalanced again.
Okay, so Effie,
What?
you're up.
What the hell? I'm trying to drink over here. What?
Okay.
My kind
I'm
of
sorry, that comment the California critic put in there, I couldn't help but just that made me like literally almost roll on the floor. Oh, wrong freaking button.
Man, hey, I was trying to.
My face is red.
Well, I was trying to point out, and Christy is saying that she watched that video too. I mean, that was a pretty cool video, man. I thought that was like really cool of him to do what he did. When he built that deck, and like I said, I'm pretty sure that guy, if I remember correctly, that he was having troubles or something with his heart. Did you see that aircraft?
No, I haven't. I have barely been able to watch anything on YouTube lately. Between work and I don't know if y'all have noticed, I've been putting out a ton of content lately. So I've been at my computer almost every night till about 1 or 2 in the morning, editing videos and setting them up to be put out, and then
Well-
get it up and going to work every morning. So.
Okay, there you go. He's suffering from lung cancer. The one went over there because I still have trouble saying his name. The one, Anunnaki. The guy is suffering from this guy that he helped out is suffering from lung cancer, and he went over and built this damn beautiful freaking deck for him. And dude, I'm gonna tell you, that right there is what real America is about. That's what America's supposed to be about, man.
You're right. We're supposed to be working with our neighbors, building that community. You're not wrong.
Super shout out to you, brother. Super shout out. That was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to point that out.
Ray is absolutely the neighbor that you want. And actually, I was already typing that when you guys were talking about it. And I'm fortunate to have him fairly close by, but he's bound by ties that he's the resistance. Gray is like the epitome of resistance.
Yeah,
And
Gray's
God
awesome.
bless him. Dude, I tell you what, man, he is very awesome.
Well, I just
Great stuff.
wanted to point out, like I
I
said,
had fun slapping him around for a few hours.
Yeah, right.
Is that what you're calling it these days? Hey, Gray, I don't know if you can handle the period of adjustment, but Nikki seems to be a little interested.
I'm just joking. I'm joking.
Yeah, I know.
Right, we're all
No,
joking.
she's got a good man that he ain't gonna. How is it? I gotta ask because you told me earlier. How are you holding up? I know you lost a friend.
Yeah, I'm okay actually. Gary's the one that went out tonight because they were doing a memorial for him. Raccoons, good one, Anunnaki. No, so he went out and did the dirty deed, what I call it. I stayed home. I didn't go. Only because it was our mechanic that was literally falling apart, after he died. So I'm okay. You know what? I hate to say this, but it's like you almost become desensitized after a while. This is like almost a monthly occurrence. Depending on the time of year, sometimes weekly down here in Florida. But this guy was really close to us, a good friend, a really good customer, and a car T-boned him, and our mechanic was riding with him, and so he basically died in our mechanic's arms. So it always sucks for me,
Damn.
and I try to suck it up with everything that's going on, because it does kill me, and he was young, he's in his 20s.
Oh.
Yeah, so basically Gary and I are just like, everybody loves us, and we're like family to all of our customers and their family and all that.
Yeah.
But it's a tough thing. So I mean, for the sake of crap, I stayed home, and Gary actually took the weight today, if you will. Because in the past, it's like he's always, we always have to go, and it's like you see the body and the thing, and I just, after a while, man, I can only take so much, so I decided to stay home today, and whatever. Next subject. So,
Yeah.
So there I was, naked and knee deep in coleslaw.
By the time the cops arrived.
Yeah,
Don't picture it. It's not pretty.
Right. Oh man. Okay, that's something. Thank you, Effie. I'm glad you brought that up.
The cops, I'm sorry.
Talking about calling the cops on your neighbors, that is a dangerous fucking thing. When will people get through their minds? The cops really have no duty to act. You know what I mean? And it's up to your own self for protection. I'll be honest. In my lifetime, the only times I've dialed 911 was because of a death. I knew they were. Or near death, whatever. Actually, they were both dead. But yeah, I've never dialed 911 on anybody anytime else. There was one time, somebody I had a trailer. Go figure. I had a trailer, and I had roommates in the trailer, and a couple of them were getting in a fight. Now I'd just gotten off of work, and unfortunately I had to change like the alternator on my truck or something. So I'm down here under my truck, and I hear them arguing inside the house. Next thing I know, I see police walking by, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I slid out from under my truck, and I'm like, working on my truck. And they're like, "What's going on in there?" I was like, "I don't know. I've been out here the entire time. Honestly, I'm not even gonna get involved with. If I thought it got violent, maybe I would. But anyway, somebody dialed the police on him. And it was weird because it was one of my roommates and my wife at the time, now deceased, were arguing. And so I'm not sure who called the cops, probably a neighbor. It was pretty loud, but I was under my truck, and I was just trying to ignore it all, hoping that everybody else would. But unfortunately, we had a Karen in the area, and they had to involve the authorities. And so they come out, and it was weird because after they went in and handled the situation, they come back out, and I was just finishing up under the truck. I'm, greased up from fingertip to elbow. And they're like, you're kind of lucky. Most of the time we come out here, we end up arresting everybody. You're the only one that's being rational in the whole thing. And I'm like, wow, go figure. It's like I'm doing the things that I need to do to make sure I can continue living and taking care of my family while my ex-wife is a dumb bitch and ruining everything. But yeah, anyways, I'll digress. And honestly, I don't know, and we should probably cut this thing off here. Like, I'm all right. Let's go 9:30. We'll go 9:30.
Okay. What time is it there? Because it's 12:24 here.
12:24.
Yeah. So it'll be at the half hour mark.
Okay.
So everybody,
What is, Ron? What's the difference between a dead raccoon and a bad neighbor? Speaking of raccoons and neighbors,
I've never met a raccoon.
the difference is that a dead raccoon doesn't call the cops on you when you shove a pencil in its eye cavity.
Neither does the neighbor. But the neighbor's wife might. All right, this is why we need to be off there.
Did I go too far again? I
Is the
apologize.
pencil a deadly object? Yes, absolutely. Everybody in the chat already knows it. A pencil can be a deadly object. And if somebody's coming at me with one, would I shoot them? Depends on the totality of circumstances. And that's another thing that everybody needs to keep in mind. The totality of circumstances. If you're a 5'4" woman and a 6 foot guy is coming at you with a pencil, you have the right to shoot him? I would say yes.
I can't
There are times
disagree.
when
I
I'm
mean,
ashamed of myself.
Yeah.
it's all about when it comes to self-defense, it's about perspective. If you feel threatened, if you feel your life is in danger,
Thank you, Blunt Man. I'm glad you made it by. John Wick. Yeah, we all wish we were John Wick. Oh, man.
if we've got Blunt Man here, where's Chronic?
Oh, man, it's right here. Oh, never mind.
But you guys
Hey,
make me
so,
laugh. Thank you.
So Nikki, where is where the hell is that good looking skinless man?
Oh,
What,
shirtless.
Gary?
Yeah, shirtless
No, he's
man.
he's in the living room. Yeah, he's in the living room, I think. I think he's probably
Not
passed
Chandler.
out by now. He
Yeah,
had too much beard.
I meant to say shirtless. He always comes out there bearing his skin.
Yeah, no, shirtless. I think he's passed out on the couch. Yeah,
Oh,
too much beer tonight.
Oof.
yeah.
Well, he was like, because I totally forgot he had to do the memorial thing tonight when he came home this afternoon. And then I'm like, oh, crap. I was going to, barbecue this and that. And he's like, no, they've got barbecue over there. I'm like, yes, I get the night off. I don't have to cook shit. So,
well,
Nikki, did he speak at the memorial?
yeah.
Oh, he did. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a big difference.
He
That
did.
really
And the weird thing is, like, he normally doesn't do that because Gary, like, I'm the mouthpiece in the family. Surprise, surprise.
Oh,
Right. Oh, is that a shock to everybody? No. Yeah.
yeah.
And so Gary's like he's not one of those get up and like vocalize and say stuff, but yeah, when it comes to that, he actually does. But secret about Gary, don't tell anybody. Most of the time when he does that, if you look at Gary, he's always like getting wet eyeballs and all. He's a total softy.
I
He
can
can't handle it, man. Gary is a total softy, man. I mean, he'll kick your ass if he has to, but he's such a softy. And so he has a little bit harder time sucking it up than most, because he'll just, oh my God, he'll start blinking and then he starts getting all wet. So he tries to avoid it. And I'm like, get up there, do something.
That is a hard thing. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I can suck it up. I'm a lot better at him than it because I'm
I
actually a
bet you
professional big mouth, So.
All right. Okay. All right. So we're almost at the half hour mark. I want to say to everybody in the chat, thank you very much. I totally appreciate having you, and I hope you enjoyed it. I wish I could go longer. I can't keep on because unless I want to pay money, you know, or if you want to donate me money, I mean, honestly, I could go on longer. I could get an upgraded plan. I'm not like out here begging for money though. But we'll go 3.5 hours and we'll call it good. And anyways, my PayPal is basically dangerousfreedom375@gmail. So
I'm gonna be upgrading you really soon, Ron. As soon as the office is open.
Nikki is a tech genius.
Well, you know about that, so.
All right, thank you everybody in chat, and everybody love each other, and everybody stay safe. And remember, no one can protect you better than you can protect yourself.
Sparky, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
What's that?
Oh no! Oh God! All right. God bless America.
Oh,